Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. First of all, jazakallah to everybody for taking out your time for this important event that inshallah we're going to embark on. I'm going to call to the front our speakers Dave, Naz, Abdul Ahad. If you just take your chairs. So inshallah today we're going to learn lots of things, lots of interesting facts, what reality of drugs, what it does to you. So inshallah pay attention. I'm mindful we've got youngsters in the crowd, we've got elders, we've got parents, we've got sisters downstairs. Hopefully you can all hear us. We've tried to do all the best setup as we can. Inshallah they'll show you lots of examples. So please bear with it, do support for a couple of hours, inshallah, but hopefully you'll go leaving this masjid with a lot of information, a lot of things that will benefit you in your life, inshallah. It's okay. It's okay. So first of all, before we start, we'll call Hafiz Faisal, inshallah. He's going to recite some Quran. So inshallah, we'll start with the recitation of the Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث صدق الله العظيم.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum everyone. Just like to thank Mulana Sadiq for asking me to host the event today. My name's Akif, and I'm just going to go through a few housekeeping before we start. So there's no planned fire drill, and if there is, we calmly get our shoes and go out these doors. Women downstairs, exactly the same. If that entrance is blocked, we've got fire exits behind us, or downstairs we've got them at the front as well. So we'll have to go out barefoot, but hopefully we'll come to that. Toilets are for the men in the old building, and for women we've got them downstairs as well, so anyone needs those. When we get to the question and answer session downstairs, we have Sister Wadeha from the Drugs Awareness Group, so the women downstairs can ask any questions there and hopefully they'll be answered. Any children that we've got, younger children, we can just keep with us and just be patient please once we get through the program. And at the end, we've got leaflets available for those who want more information. And the most important event of all is the food at the end. And we will make sure that that's provided for everyone before they go, so don't worry, we'll not sorted that out. Okay. Just going to kick it off. And we'll just go straight into it. I'm not going to talk much. You're not here to hear me talk. We're going to kick off with Dave Memory. Dave is the chair of the Creative Strength Group, which is an addiction charity, and is also trustee of the Bridge Project which helps with drug addiction and heroin treatment. I'll give the chair to Dave and let him give his insight.
Okay, thank you.
You know, to hold this.
Whereabouts is it?
Okay. Where's it gone? Just bear with us, we're just looking for the presentation. Technical.
Where's your IT support?
The IT is more people there, a bit useless. Okay. We're sharing the screen along the USB.
Maybe it's here. Look. Screen's been shared, just hold it.
Is that a new location? No.
Is this one?
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. So, first of all, I'd like to thank Imam Sajid and the community for inviting me here today. My name's Dave Memory and I'm project lead at Create Strength Group. So Create Strength Group is an addiction charity that's based here in Bradford, and we were started in 2015. So specifically we were set up to help people with cannabis, spice and legal highs. We also support people who are in current addiction and have come out of addiction, and also with their families and their loved ones. But today we're going to be talking about nitrous oxide. So specifically, we're going to be looking at a few questions. So we've been looking where this craze came from, and that's what it is. It's a fashion at the moment. And like all fashions, it's going to pass. However, it's going to leave a lot of damage before it does. We'll be looking at who's doing it. And I can tell you now that the main people who are using it are young people. It's between 16 and 24. That's what the statistics tell us. We'll be looking into what the harms are, and there are some serious harms. So we can go from something as inconsequential as dizziness and laughter, that's why it's called laughing gas, right down to death. So people actually lose their lives from this. And just in the past few months in West Yorkshire, we've had a couple of fatalities. But also, as a community, we've got to ask, what's our role in this and what can we do about it? I'll also talk a little bit about Create Strength Group's nitrous oxide project. That's a mapping and scoping exercise. It's one of the biggest that's going on at the moment, and it's been the longest one. And we'll be looking into how we deliver training to frontline workers, to GPs, teachers, parents, and people from the community who have an interest in nitrous oxide use. Within that project, we also raise awareness and we look at harm reductions. But ultimately, we're looking to look at pathways into recovery. So we're looking for people to recover from this. So a little bit about my background. I'm not going into everything, but my background was actually in academic research. And I used to travel around the world delivering academic papers and conferences. And it was about human-computer interaction. And specifically, I was looking into perception, how we perceive things. And that led me into getting involved with substance recovery, because when people take drugs, they change their perception. And specifically, I started to get involved with studying addiction at King's College, but also I'm looking into upcoming drugs. So particularly things like spice and novel psychoactive substances, and the sort of drugs that's going to be in the landscape in the next 10 years. I'm also project lead and facilitator at Create Strength Group, and I'm a trustee at the Bridge Project. Ultimately, though, I'm involved now in the Bradford Drug and Alcohol Treatment Partnership, so that's going to be delivering support to people and their families. So I just want to take a little while to look at some of these images, and you may have seen these canisters around the community, and that's nitrous oxide. That's nitrous oxide use, but it is traded as a drug. So a little overview, what we're going to do then. So we're going to look into nitrous oxide. We're going to look at in the known using habits. So that's how and where people use them, and specifically about the known harms. We'll also look into the paraphernalia in the kit. That's the equipment that's associated with nitrous oxide use. I'll go into a little bit about Create Strength Nitrous Oxide Project, and we'll talk about treatment and support. But ultimately, we're talking about what happens in the future and what we do as a community here. I just want to look at these images. So there's 3 on the left and there's 2 on the right. The 3 on the left are very much modern. They're from the 21st century. It's nitrous oxide use within the community. But the ones on the right there, from the 19th century, they're when nitrous oxide was first discovered, which was the end of the 18th century. So even though this is a craze now, this is something that's been around before. So nitrous oxide then, what nitrous oxide is, it's an inert, colourless, non-flammable gas. And it works differently to other drugs. So most drugs work on the reward system of the brain. They interfere with the process that produces dopamine. But what nitrous oxide does is it depletes the blood supply of oxygen. And that blood supply goes to the brain. So it refuses to give oxygen to the brain. And when the brain's starved of oxygen, we can start to have hallucinations. We can start to become disoriented. So it works in a very different way. Now, it is actually a controlled substance under the Medicines Act 1968. So it's important, perhaps some people might be in the catering industry, they might be shopkeepers, and you must be very careful about selling nitrous oxide, because if it's proved that it's used for recreational use, you could serve a sentence of 6 to 7 years. Also, you find that there are other legitimate uses. For instance, just up the road here in the maternity unit, nitrous oxide is used for childbirth, for pain release. But actually, it's mixed with oxygen for the reason that it depletes the brain of oxygen. So in medicine, in medical circumstances, they add oxygen to make sure that it's safe. Finally, then, it has to be said that currently nitrous oxide is the second most popular drug, second to cannabis. So between 16 and 24-year-olds, it's the number 2 drug there, so it's affecting a lot of people. The other thing to point out that actually nitrous oxide is a greenhouse gas, and it will deplete the environment as well. So now we're going to look into the using habits and known harms. So there are 3 main ways that nitrous oxide is used at the moment, and each one gets progressively worse. So the first one is inhaling via balloons, and you may have seen people doing this, or you may have seen balloons around the community. So something like these canisters, they blow up balloons, and then it's inhaled directly from there. So that's the first way. It's actually the safest way. Just because it's the safest way doesn't mean it's safe, but it's the safest way, the one with the least harm. The next method is by direct inhalation. So sometimes there are little nozzles at the end of these canisters, and they can be inhaled directly into the lungs. And finally, and perhaps the most dangerous, is the use of masks. Now, as drug use progresses, there's a phenomenon called tolerance, so that the more that you use a drug, the more you get used to it, and you need more of it, and you need to take it more frequently. And the methods become more harsh. So the most deaths have appeared with people using masks, because there's no control of passing out if you have a mask on. It's used within street culture and festivals and events, including weddings. So you'll see nitrous oxide use at many events around the community. But ultimately, we've got to look at some of the consequences of this. So the most obvious one is addiction. So this is a volatile substance, and it can lead to addiction, and it can lead to other drugs as well. The second thing we've got to bear in mind is the antisocial aspect of this. So the fact that it's used quite a lot in street racing. So people are racing through the streets, they're taking nitrous oxide. There's an antisocial side to this as well, notwithstanding the environment. And in terms of harms, we can split them into three: the primary, secondary, and tertiary. So the primary harms often result in death. So the main death so far with nitrous oxide has been through asphyxiation, which is suffocating. So if you've got 4 guys in a car using nitrous oxide, slowly, the oxygen levels in that car get depleted. So they're literally starved of oxygen and they suffocate, and this is the main form of death that we found. But another thing that's happened is, because people become disoriented when they take nitrous oxide, if they're driving, it only needs a few seconds of lack of concentration can cause accidents. So the secondary harms are to do with what happens to the body. So these canisters, they contain the gas as a liquid, and in order for that to be a liquid, it's about 900 pounds per square inch. So it's held under intense pressure. When it's released, that energy has to release somehow, and it's done in cooling in the same way as a CO2 fire extinguisher will freeze. The same thing happens with nitrous oxide. So one of the secondary harms we've found is a freezing of the esophagus, the windpipe, and it produces small ice crystals that will damage the breathing apparatus and also inside the lungs. So this damage can be long-term. There are also a third set of harms. So if people become disoriented, they can fall over, they can bang their heads, they can also damage other people. So if we lose control of the car and we crash into someone else who's totally innocent, the ramifications can go very wide. So then, in terms of some of the short-term and long effects of nitrous oxide, so in the short term, we can have dizziness and drowsiness and hallucinations and those lack of coordinations. And even though they only happen for a short term, literally a few seconds sometimes, that's when the danger comes in. People falling over, people losing control of the car. There are long-term effects as well though. Brain damage, heart, kidney, liver and lung damage as well. And we're finding specifically what's happening within Bradford, that because nitrous oxide works to deplete vitamin B12, we're finding lots of cases now where damage to the nerve endings, initially in the fingers and the toes, but as the nerve gets damaged, we can also damage some vital organs. Another thing that we're seeing at the moment is that the people who are dealing these drugs are actually also selling vitamin B12 injections. Okay, so also, if we have a look at some of the images there, we've got a number of catastrophic crashes there. So the red one that's shown is actually an accident that happened in Brickhouse just a few months ago. These were people who were chased by the police using nitrous oxide. They lost control of the car and lost their lives as well. But there are a number of other accidents that you can see there. So these are just car accidents. The one there with the guy with the legs is one of these canisters that exploded while he was filling a balloon. So because it's under 900 psi pressure, if there's any sort of failure within this canister, it's going to explode out. So you can find yourself with severe burns or bits of shrapnel from the metal container. So in terms of the things we have to look for, so for those of us here who are parents and rightly concerned about this use, we've got to think about the sort of things that come with this use. So first of all, we've got these big canisters that look like this. But there are also these smaller canisters, these 8.5 gram canisters, look like a silver bullet. Sometimes you see those around, specifically to do, and I can see a few people nodding that obviously they've seen this around the community. I have to say at this point, this is not something that only affects this community. This affects all communities and all cultures, and it's not even a Bradford-wide problem. This is across the UK and across Europe, and also in Australia, Canada and America, becoming a serious problem. There are some reasons for that. Perhaps we can discuss it in the questions afterwards, but that's to do with the lockdown, basically. Now, some of this equipment that's found here, for instance, a little brass thing is used to pierce a hole in the canister so they can fill up balloons. So if you start to see this sort of equipment, perhaps in your homes, perhaps in places where young people will gather, it's important that you know what this is for. So if suddenly your kids are coming back with lots of balloons, it's right that we question them to say, what are you doing with this? We need to arm ourselves with the information. Also, these canister come in packaging, and the packaging looks like this. Now, a lot of you might work within the catering industry. You might have restaurants and cafes. You might be familiar with this. You've got to be very careful that you know that you're supplying where it is, where it's going. Because if you start to find that people are perhaps taking this from you, perhaps they're using it for recreational use. So the canisters and the boxes are things to look out for. So how is this sold and distributed? Well, in general, like most drugs, people who use drugs, it's through people who they know. And so groups of friends might get into this as a craze, and then they'll pass it around themselves. But there's a lot of dealing on social media, and young people understand social media better than I do, for instance. So the use of Snapchat and Telegram and platforms like this, these drugs are sold. And here are some examples of real adverts. So it's illegal to trade in nitrous oxide for recreational use, but these people are clearly doing this, and they're doing this through social media. So it's something we've got to be aware of. And for the young people out there as well, you might get friend requests from people who you don't know, and then suddenly you start getting bombarded with adverts for things like this. And it's not just nitrous oxide, there might also be other substances that are pushed on you. It's not only social media, there are specialist websites as well. So you can order a party pack, for instance, with nitrous oxide, with balloons, with all the paraphernalia that you need. Just going to leave you with a few news stories here. These are real stories about people who have had serious harm. Here are some more to do with people losing control of the car. Unfortunately, we don't know the full picture. Every accident that happens that involves nitrous oxide is not necessarily reported to the police. It's not necessarily reported to an insurance company. So there's a lot more going on that we don't actually know about. Now, luckily, through working with youth organisations, like Consequence, for instance, we've got a good idea of what's going on. And we know that more's going on that's actually been reported. So here's some examples of what you might see in the community. So this is actually in BD4. But these three pictures here, I'd like to thank David Goodwin for these three pictures, but the first two are Fairbank Terrace, which is the next road. And the last one is on the Toller Lane. So it's very close to home, this. Now, that's not to say that people from this community are doing that, because people quite often drive around and they'll throw it out the window. But these things are quite heavy. And there have also been some reports of damage where people have thrown them out, they've bounced and they've hit someone, caused serious damage. So finally then, we tackle this at Create Strength Group by doing an awareness training. This is for GPs, frontline workers, youth workers and drug workers, and teachers and parents. So it's just to have the awareness of how all drugs work, where nitrous oxide fits into this, and what we can do about it. Now, we've left a little bit of space for questions now. I do hope you've got some questions, because this is the most interesting bit for me. So come on, don't be shy.
This is the opportunity to actually have someone who's in the field, who's researched it. So any questions, no matter how small they are or how crazy you may think, this is the time to ask, because you may not get the opportunity again. Wow, Dave, you've done a really good job here. I think everyone's really understood.
Well, I think it just takes one person to ask the first question. There might be others.
How about one of the elders? You might have something that you might want to talk about, you might want to ask. Go for it.
Well, I'm surprised because I've seen loads of silver bullets
The small ones.
on my way to work and home. And I always know what it was. I never knew what it was. I only came to know about it recently when I asked my brother.
Yeah.
And they were the early days when you find the small ones.
Yeah.
You won't find them now. Now it's going to be constantly this because this is a cheaper option and they get quite a lot out of it compared to that. But like you said before, it was in front of people and people just didn't understand.
But this is the key to this, to have the information and to have the knowledge to know what it is. You know, what people are doing, why they're doing it as well. The ultimate goal here is to help people. It's not to punish them for doing this. It's to help them to say, to point out how dangerous this is, that they could lose their life, but also just to help them along the way, really, have that information. But thanks for that question. We got any more? Okay, that's a good question as well. The main reason why someone might collapse is a lack of oxygen. So the way that that's dealt with in hospital, for instance, is to give them oxygen directly. So the best thing to do is to call 999, get an ambulance, but also to make sure that they're getting some air. Because the main issue is to do with as if someone's suffocated. So you might find people going blue, for instance, blue lips, blue fingernails, but oxygen's the key here, and some medical help. It's a very good question though, because it's increasingly common. You might be walking through the streets and you'll see 4 guys in a car, all slumped out. First thing to do would be to open all the doors and get them out to the fresh air, get them to breathe. Thanks for that question. Could save someone's life, literally. Yeah, the high literally lasts a few seconds. Yeah.
Just a full blue, once it's blown up, and then
Yeah. And you know what the thing is? It's not associated like it's a drug. You know, it's not like going and buying some cannabis or buying some cocaine. It's something that you can get from a cafe, and you could just have a little sniff and see it doesn't do any damage. But like anything else, the more you get into it, the more dangerous it is. And by the nature of all intoxicants, you want more and more and more, and this is what addiction is. Hi there.
yes, it says the canisters blow. Can the canisters blow?
Yes. Because inside, in order to have a gas, they press it so much to turn it into a liquid. So it's under intense pressure. And the seals on these canisters, they're mass produced, and some of them might not be very good. So if they fail, they can blow up, and bits of metal can fly everywhere. Sorry?
I'll go through it all as soon as but like I said, Dave had that on there. The prices vary from different areas. Funnily enough, we're in Bradford and ours is quite cheap compared to everywhere else, with like everything else. But I'll go into that as soon as we get into my time. Sorry, could everyone just keep the phones on silent? On that note. Sorry, yeah, go
No,
for
that's
it.
about 20 minutes up. That's what
Dave, we've got one more there.
Has there been a move away from this market to the large?
Yes.
Big time. And we'll talk.
New rehabilitation, we've had a number of patients come in who've lost their ability to walk in their hands.
Yes.
Can't believe they've recovered quite well, but there's been an increase in trend of people. Obviously, I don't really know much about these things, but then it seems to be if the people move from the smaller canisters to the larger.
Yeah.
The damage is being knocked.
And you know what the main change as well has been that with the small ones, they use those to fill a balloon. So if you have the balloon and you pass out, you let go of the balloon and it goes. If you directly put it into your mouth or you have a mask and you pass out, you can't take it away. Yeah. So you'll probably find more traffic coming into A&E, into hospitals as a result of these big canisters.
And just to mention that sometimes there's an assumption that it's just males, but it's certainly males and females.
Yeah.
Especially in the Muslim community.
Yeah, don't forget, some males will encourage females to do it as well. They'll say it's harmless.
It's like one there from Zimbabwe.
Now, if you find somebody that's not breathing, would you do CPR?
Well, the first thing I would do is to get some medical attention there. Yeah, that's the first thing. In terms of CPR, it's a question of if it's necessary, then yeah, absolutely. Checking, the airways, the breathing, but breathing will be the issue. Okay, thanks for your patience. Oh, I think there's one more question there.
You said all to the wrong side, right? The ambulance is going to try to recovery, the same person
I didn't catch all that.
Okay, so basically what it is, when they are, it affects them, and then what happens is each person's recovery time is different. Some people may, 24 hours later, what happened there? Some people, 10 minutes, yeah? Some people, months, starting to reuse your hand on the left side of it, or your right side, or you're walking, you're talking. It can affect any part, because remember, it's going up there. When it's going up there, access all areas, you don't know what's hitting, where it's hitting, and how it's hitting. Any more questions? We'll move like that.
Why is it so
So again, why is it so addictive?
You know why that is? You know why that is, right? The reason why we have addiction at all is because our bodies, they give us rewards for doing things that are good. So for instance, when you're nice to someone, or someone's nice to you, you get that good feeling. That good feeling is a neurotransmitter that's released in your brain, a natural chemical that makes you feel good. So it encourages you to do good. Yeah? And this interferes with that. It interferes with that by starving your brain of oxygen. So it's almost like an interference with a reward. You get a little reward, and that's why it's addictive. And that's why we've got to be really careful. One more hand at the back there.
One right at the back there. So they say that again loudly.
How does what?
How does what, sorry?
How can it affect you in the future?
How can it affect you in the future if you keep taking it?
Right, so if you starve the brain of oxygen, you can damage the brain. And like this question that we had here about, we don't know what it might be, you could starve the brain of oxygen in an area that controls your speech, for instance, or maybe the area of your brain that controls your hand-eye coordinates or your balance. So that damage is down to the amount of time that your brain has been without oxygen. But the more you take it, the more likely you're going to have some sort of problem. It could be your nerve endings, it might not even be to do with your brain. But the more you take it, the more at risk you become.
If it's that marijuana, it's not illegal?
Well, it's not illegal because it's got many legitimate uses. It's a bit like, some people, they sniff glue. Glue's not illegal because it has a legitimate use, but some people abuse it. And there are controls on glue, for instance. Like young people can't just go and buy some glue, yeah? In the same way as alcohol is controlled in certain ways, some people say it should be illegal. A lot of us would say that as well, about the damage that it does. So because there's a legitimate use, at the moment it is legal. But to use it recreationally, to get high, that's definitely illegal. Yeah, and if someone's selling it to someone to get high, that's definitely illegal. And of course, the law could change. But again, it's a good question, isn't it? We can ask this about lots of things,
We will have another opportunity to do a Q&A after our next section. Next up, thank you for that, Dave. That was really informative. Like many of you in the audience, we've seen these canisters, and I only up to recently knew what they were all about. So now we know some of the telltale signs to look out for. Next up, we've got Naz, who is the founder of Consequences. Naz has done a lot of work locally. I know you had a nice setup in the Gun Centre a few years ago, and he's been around the colleges and been enlisted a few times while speaking to our young ones. And I'll just let him take over, and he will introduce what he's going to go on.
First of all, Assalamu alaikum. Really nice to be here again, once again in this beautiful building, and to have you all here with us on a topic which is quite serious, and it's something that our communities and other communities, like Dave says, not only ours, but we're coming from what we see. That time has gone where you close your eyes and walk away. If there's an issue, you need to highlight it, you need to talk about it. And we as a masjid here and a community here, at the end of the day, coming together to talk about stuff and to see what we can do and implement some of the issues that we're facing around drugs and some of the issues. So today, the aim was is to tell you a bit about nitrous oxide. Now, Dave's done most of that on the PowerPoint. My aim is to basically explain to you what this is doing to our community. Yeah, not no other community, our community. You can buy one of these, yeah, for £20 if you look at. You can't buy it from shop, which is standard procedure, but you can get it for about £20. One of these between two people lasts 15 to 25 minutes. That's 2 balloons, each of them just popping away as you do, and just not thinking about what's going on. And after one's done, you think that'll be it. No. How it's used, simple. Get one of these, take your tops off. This is the new system. The old system, the small one, it's costing too much to send over from wherever it's been sent over, so they're now sending it in big bottles. There are even more bigger bottles that are coming out. So you can imagine, yeah, this is the status of it is. So you'll have this has got a pin in it, this has got a pin in the system. This will go onto that until you hear. Now, that there is what's out, and it's coming into your brain. This is a normal way of doing it. And as long as it takes for that to let that out, we've got air here, or it's gone in the room. That is being released up there. And what I'll say to you is I've seen people who will sit there and you see it. Look, if that's what it can do to the balloon, imagine what it's doing on the inside and up there. And this is something they'll take, it'll go in and they'll sit there, and you will see that person go from a normal talking person to slouching over, and his voice is changed. So how I can explain it to you is I'm speaking normal to you now, and if I took one balloon on that, I will start talking, and I will automatically fall to a side, and there'll be consciousness of, but at the same time, I know it sounds bizarre, once one's done, they're on the second one straight away, and then they've got it in their mouth, and they're sat there, and it's no conversation between two good friends, 4 if not, but 2 good friends. I'm talking from people that I've seen do it, and I've been there, and I've watched them take a whole bottle and do it that fast that the bottle freezes. And once it's frozen, like Dave says, it's out of the window. Most of the bottles that I've managed to collect, these are from our area. Yeah? Go to Morrison's, go to Little Car Park, go to Chatachai Car Park. These places where there's kind of people there for a reason. Is to chill, park up, have a tea, have a smoke, have a drink, whatever it was. Now, this is their age. Why? Me having a bottle of this, it's not going to make me smell of anything. So I can have this and I can walk straight into the house and just go, yeah, there's no smell to it. So you can't tell, first of all. Second, me having it, half an hour, depending on how my brain is, and if it is all right, I might be able to carry on doing what I'm doing. But then you've got certain situations and certain points where I've personally seen it, of one brother in Morrison's car park, constantly taking it. And as Dave said, this brother had his girlfriend with him. Yeah. So this brother is now asking his girlfriend to take the balloons. She's never taken balloons in her life, but she's taking them because she's now getting addicted to it. She's thinking, yeah. He's carrying on to a point where one bottle doesn't do it, where they're coming and getting a full box. And I'm saying to them people that are selling them these boxes, saying, how long does it last? What's going on? He says, he'll be back in about 4 hours. That's 6 bottles in 4 hours. He says, yeah, that's between 2 people. Couple of months ago, same location in Morrison's car park, he's having these balloons. He's having them, and he's gone under. Now you might think, what do you mean gone under? Dave was explaining a bit of it there. It's when your brain's starved of oxygen. Obviously, Dave used more of the technical words on it, but up there, basically, there's no air getting to it, there's no oxygen. So this thing's saying, right, close off. Close off in whatever situation you are. You could be running, it'll close off. You could be driving as it's happened, and it'll close off. You can't stop it. There's no telltale signs at the end of the day that you're going under. You will go under. And when you go under, then it's up to basically, they call it your mindset, how much you've taken, what effects it's doing to you. But at the time when you're under, believe me, no one doesn't want to touch you or even want to say anything. And I've seen it where they're shouting at him to a point where they got him out of the car, they put him on the floor and tried to give him a position that looked like a funny position, but it was one of those where he's trying to get him into a safe position. Still not talking, the person throwing water on him and stuff. And I'm looking at him thinking, he's a goner. Do you know what happened to him? He came round with a big, deep breath. You know what he said? Wow, what a buzz. Wow, what a buzz. Brother, you were out for good 10, 15 minutes and you come back to this world with, wow, what a buzz. Wow. Okay, think about this. It's going to affect you. I've seen the same brother, like I said, no names, doing it with his brother, his elder brother. And I'm sat there, I'm going, is all the family in on this? What's going on? He says, oh, no. You know what it is? My little brother, yeah, our father passed away last year and he can't deal with it. So he's gone on this. It was either alcohol, drugs, or this, and he chose this. And he's spending so much money that we can't stop him. Now, so what do you want to do? How are you going to stop him? I'm trying my best, Naz, but I can't stop him. Every person that's selling it to him keeps selling him. And if you don't get it from this area, he gets it from another area. The brother passed away last month. I seen the younger brother and I said, please, wasn't that the message your brother gave you? Stop this. No, I can't. I keep thinking about it. So he's using it as a depression mechanism. You know, people get medicine from doctors, depression pills and stuff like that at the end of the day. They think they're working. Yeah, they're working for that period of time. But the depression and the pain is always going to be there. There's other ways of fighting it, yeah? Offer this stuff is not going to help. It's not going to be something where you think it's going to solve it. Bringing it to our community. Girls are using these. Girls, as in Muslim girls, yeah? Girls all over are using it, but from us, from this community, from what I've seen, there are Muslim girls that are using this. And they are parked up and they're having the balloons. Why? Once again, it doesn't smell. Cannabis smells, cigarette smells, alcohol smells, yeah? Cocaine, you can tell with the effects on your eye, on your body. With this, there is no effect. Someone can have this within half an hour, yeah, and if he's okay, comes out of the car, he can walk in and he can be normal. This is the downfall of it, and it's catching on quicker than you think. We spoke about how people are using it, and don't leave it up to me and thinking, oh, hang on, Naz, you know, you're right. Look for yourself when you're driving. When people are driving with a balloon in their mouth, there is no need for a balloon in your mouth. Where did that come from? That person is taking that. Stand up and say something to them. Talk to them. Say people have died. You're not understanding how many lives have been lost. And what for? For a bit of 5 minutes fun. Oh, we'll have a little chill. We'll go food. We'll go shisha. We'll go have a games room, and then we'll have a bottle of gas. Couple of people have gone out like that. Group, friends, chilling, partying, whatever you want to name it. Snooker, food, whatever. At the end of it, they're sat in the car and they're having that. When they're having that, they've had it and they're thinking, yeah, let's go, let's get out of here, let's go somewhere. They're driving. And then it affects the person that's driving, or it affects the person in the back on the passenger. If it's the driver, as you can see, it's happened before and it'll happen again, yeah? They will die. They will either kill someone else or they'll kill someone in the car, yeah, because of their choices. We've had someone on Leeds Road who basically has had a death on Leeds Road and they couldn't take it. What they've done is they've gone round to the site of where it happened close enough, and on the wall, not that I condone it and not that I said they should have done it, but they've wrote on the wall, smart whips kill. Simple. Yeah? That's simple as it is from where we're seeing it. As Dave was saying, it starts small. Someone who's never had a balloon and has never done gas, one balloon for the first time will make them feel, oh my God, that was too much. And they'll take ages on it and they'll take ages on it. And this is from people that are taking it, and they'll take ages and ages and ages to a point where it's blown up to one full breath and you just sat there and dazed. I've tried to communicate with people when they're on this. You can't. It's just a straight, bizarre phase, like a zombie zone they're in. I've seen girls taking it and I'm looking at it and I'm saying, why? And the excuse is, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. It's a bit of fun, isn't it? There's no harm in there. Well, okay, some of the statistics and some of the incidents that we've had, people have lost limbs, the use of limbs. You know, people have lost the way how life was for them. People have taken other people's lives, their own have also been taken. But at the same time, look at the ripple effect that comes from that. 4 friends are driving, yeah, all of a sudden they've had a crash from someone else. Someone else has hit into them. Okay, fine, it's the other person's fault. But when they realise he's been on gas bottles, the mind goes a bit different. It's the same as someone on drugs or alcohol. This is something that's in our community and it's not going to go away. The other thing that we've got in our community, unfortunately for the young ones, is we've got a lot of vape pens. You might have seen them about. A lot of them are running up, yeah, it's all right. Mine smells of banana, mine smells of cherry. Yeah, it doesn't make a difference. It's made in China, yeah, in a factory that's kicking out this type of stuff for fun. You've heard of clothes that are fake, haven't you? Everyone knows that you can get fake clothes. Well, what's stopping us from getting fake whips? What's stopping us from getting other things that are made on a cheap and a bulk just to send them out? Yeah, you're getting a vape pen and people are smoking. And some of the young ones now have realised that, oh, because I've been vaping at home and my mum and dad are kind of all right with it, yeah? It's not 6, it's okay. What's now happening is through the Snapchat industry and the world of the media, the vape pens are now having THC in it. THC, if I'm right, it's cannabis oil residue from cannabis.
It's the main ingredient of cannabis that gets you high.
So they are putting stuff like that in it, yeah? Small bits, THC. Why? Because I believe for a young person to take that, they're not going to know straight away that they're taking THC. But if they start getting a bit of a buzz and they start feeling a bit light and a bit, oh, hang on, yeah, they're already now getting used to cannabis in the system. If they was to go do a urine sample test or anything like that, it will be in the system. It's in your system for 35, 36 days, depending on how you are. This, in your system, out of system, within the same day. But the effects that will leave behind, unfortunately, that's not for 1 day or 2 days. That'll stay for life. Any questions from here? Yes, right at the front, brother. What's THC? I'll let Dave answer this one. But you know cannabis, don't you? You don't know cannabis? Ganja? Right, you. I like you. Yeah, right. Cannabis, ganja, green thing, like a plant. Let's just go there. Yeah, just remember that. Yeah, that there, squeezed, pressurized, brought in, done whatever had to, and getting the oil residues and the THC, which is, if I'm right, Dave, the part of the cannabis plant which is broken down and it's all this chemicals and stuff. Yeah, that's the stuff that they're putting into it. Yes. Of what? Sorry, this or of cannabis or this?
With this, it'll deplete the oxygen. That's the problem.
If you're in a car, so look, if I stand here, all right, but if you're in a car, closed zone, at the end of the day, yeah, you will feel it. You'll feel a bit of a headache first, yeah, because remember, when we're doing this, I'm brave enough to sit there to see people do it, but I'm not brave enough to take it at the end of the day. But whilst I was there, the smell was a bit iffy first. Gas kind of smell. Afterwards, it's the brain. I'm getting a bit of a little bit of a lighthead feeling, yeah. And I had to open like the door and just like stand outside. But I understand what they mean. This takes the oxygen away from you. Next question. How does it THC harm you? How does THC harm you?
Psychosis, for instance.
Right, so that there, at the end of the day, you could start losing, on the streets, you're losing your marbles, as we call it, yeah? It starts forgetting certain things, and then furthermore, the effects of it is if you don't have it, you now want to have it at the end of the day. It's like a constant kind of a drug, just like some of the drugs we're going to talk about later with the brother here. It's an addiction, it's needed. Just like this here, at the end of the day, you can go through the whole day without having it, but at night time when they're sat together and they're doing something, they need a balloon. And it's like, yeah, I just want a balloon in my mouth for the fun of it. Go for it.
I thought cannabis might be used to help your body and like treatments like CBD or something like that.
Very good question.
Very good question. That I'll let Dave answer that one.
So there are two main components in cannabis. One is THC, and that's the thing that gets you high, but it has psychotic properties, so it produces psychosis in people. Yeah, but the other side that you say is CBD, that actually has psychotic properties, and you're absolutely right there. It can be used to treat things like Parkinson's disease. There's a lot of evidence to say that it does help with things like pain release. However, CBD and THC are two very different things, yeah. And it's the THC that's a problem, and it's the THC that's actually illegal. You can get legal CBD products. Very good question you've asked there. That's very good. Thank you.
Next question, anyone? Don't be shy. Go for it. Which age group has a vape pen? The youngest I've seen is 11. Because remember this at the end of the day, if your brother smoke it, your brother, sister, some mothers, some brothers, uncles, anyone, if it's in the house at the end of the day, it's not like cigs, you see. You see cigs, you got a box and you take one out, someone's going to remember, hey, where's my cigs gone? With the vape pen, how do you tell? It's just press it and what it's doing is it's creating a reaction where it's burning this oil. It's like me, if I sat here and I burnt this and I put you above it and went, sniff that, you're going to go, what the heck? But if I put this in a plastic thing and I put a bit of oil, a bit of, say, rose water on it and a bit of this flour on it, mixed it up, and then I told you to burn it, and you burn it, the smell would be changed now, wouldn't it? Because it'd have a bit of a tango or apple flavour or mango flavour. You would be none the wiser, you'd be puffing a bit, but what you're really puffing is plastic. They're made on the cheap for a reason, yeah? And I've got a feeling that there's a far more shops around the area that are selling them just like that to the kids. Why is it that it's very hard to walk into a shop and say, hey, can I have a box of cigs? No. ID, yeah? And I respect that for this community. ID, yeah? Wicked. But why is it when you're going into the vape pen, you can go in and go, it's for my sister and they're outside in the car and they need it. Yeah, take, I got a deal on, take 4 for a tenner. You take 3 home and say, oh look, they got a deal on, they give you 3 and you keep the one in your pocket. That one in your pocket has to stay with you now. And you take it to school. And I've also heard from the Imam, some of them are walking into a mosque with it. You come into a mosque, what do you need a shisha pen for? What do you need a pipe for? It doesn't make sense. But a lot of young people are doing it. And in our age, this wasn't around. Yeah? Because if it was, a lot of us would be dead by now because some of the stuff that this pen, this vaping thing is doing, we're not really kind of understanding until I think later on down the line, because it's still in the early kind of stages. People would say, no, there's no harms in it. Well, all right, okay. You said there were no harms in cigs, but cigs are still harmful. So what about these vape pens at the end of the day? My advice to you is as a young person, yeah, look at it like this. If you are happy to say no to drugs, if you're happy to say no to alcohol, you should be happy to say no to this too. Yeah? That's all you've got to remember. Any other question? Go for it. I think so, they are. You know, a box of cigarettes, here's me trying to sell cigs. I don't sell cigs, by the way. But a box comes with 10, yeah? So this is how it is. You open a box, bam, in the morning, bam. That's it now. You've got 9 cigs left. You know, I've got 9. Then dinner time, maybe you have something to eat, have another one. And then evening time, whatever. However, some people go far more. I know chain smokers are one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. But the thing is, they know how much they've smoked. When someone gets up to 20 cigs in a day, they go, oh, you, that's too much for me. But you know, with a vape pen, there's no indication of how much you're smoking. It's only until that it goes empty and it starts flashing on you, you go, oh, that's all, I get another one. And from what I've been told is if I'm right, statistics, they show one vape is equivalent to, I don't know how many cigs it is. I think it's about 3 to 4 cigs in one vape at the end of the day. So you think about it. Same with shisha smoke. People think, oh, shisha smoke's all right, it's okay. No, it's not. You take one puff in, that's like 10 cigs. One puff is like 10 cigs. That's not me saying it, that's statistics. I've seen people sit there constantly, like in, out, and I'm saying, yo, have a breath. Take 5 minutes. Oh no, this is nothing, this is mine, it's nothing. Same person, 3-4 days, coughing, my chest is tightening up on me. I'm saying, well, you know, this is the situation. You sat there, shishing it away or penning it away, and you're not seeing the effects because it's not in your face. It'll come later on down the line. Any other questions? Go for it. So say that again? No, cigarettes have other kind of carbon monoxide and the cigs, the tobacco and the chemicals that are used in the tobacco. Whereas the pen, really truly, have you ever looked inside of a pen? I have. I've opened it, it's very bizarre. Battery, wires, and a little pod, white pod. Yeah, with a bit of oil in it. And I even broke the oil just to see, and I'm smelling it, and it smells really, really nice, literally. But that's the same thing that's burning from a battery, and it's now seeping through the top. So for me, I'd say, yeah, there's a question from downstairs. We've got a question from the sisters. How would you report someone with a balloon whilst driving? Would you ring 111 or 999? That's a good question, man. If they're next to you at the traffic lights, I'd beat your horn and say, why? And then tell them, smart whips kill, because they have them. We're not lying. As for ringing the police, you can't ring 999 and go, yo, this is going on. No. As for ringing 111, you could do, but I'm sure you'll be there quite a long time, and by that time, they've gone. What I would do is seize the moment there and then, and don't be shy, and don't think, oh, no, I'm going to get negative. No, you're not. You're talking the truth, and you're telling them the truth, and you've heard something, and you're just passing it on. And if you don't pass that on, then what's the difference between you and the rest of them? Because a lot of people will do this. Oh, it's not our daughter, it's not our family, leave it, it's got nothing to do with us. No, it's our community though. Today you allow them, tomorrow it'll be within your own family. Any other questions?
It's just a question.
Go for it.
If this substance is so dangerous, why is it not regulated? I mean, surely the government and the law enforcement.
Listen, there are people that have tried to do that at the end of the day, but you see, as bad as it is for us, anyone that's eating a cake or a cupcake, this is something that they use for that. This, in my eyes, I've chased it all the way to the main factory source, and the source says people buy this to put into gums so they can do the cream, hot chocolates and stuff. Yeah, it gives you the kind of kick that you need to it. So I would love it to be banned, but like we said before, they didn't ban glue when there was an issue with glue. At the end of the day, they didn't ban alcohol, even though there was an issue with alcohol. It's something that's there for other uses, and I don't think they will. People are trying their best on it.
No, but they're also pointing out drugs that are banned. People use it anyway, even though they're illegal.
See, now that's another one. If they were banned at the end of the day, the only difference is we in Bradford would have stack loads of this, and we'd be selling it at double prices. That's the only difference would happen. The price, the quantity and the quality of the stuff would still be coming through, but the price would be a different thing. But like I said, we'd love to have certain things stopped, but in this world, it's very hard. So the officer had a question.
Yeah, just going back to that point about 999, I would contradict that a little bit. I would suggest if someone is in the car, you see them doing it, please call us, because it might prevent a road-related death. So if they are actively doing it, please do call us. We'll get the car pulled. If nothing else, if we don't find any evidence of it, they might just go on for the night. So you might have saved a life by doing that.
Just a quick one about that, officer, if you're there. If you came into my car and I had 4 of these bottles with balloons everywhere, what does law state?
So, you've probably tested, see if you're overprescribed limit, The problem with smart whips is the leak system very
Very. This is explained. As soon as I let that balloon go, as you see it, that's as quick as it will go in and out of your system.
The other thing you can do is you can look at issuing a Section 59 vehicle warning. If you get 2 of those, you get your vehicle seized from you.
Now this, what the officer said there is a true fact. If you've been warned once whilst you're doing this, at the end of the day, that's your warning. The second time, you know what happens? It's a letter straight to you and your insurance company. And your insurance company, the minute you've had a crash and the police say, yeah, we found one of these bottles and a balloon in the thing, your insurance is void. Have a good one. Getting insurance in Bradford is hard anyway, but have a good one. It's voided. Bringing it back to what you said there, a lot of people think, they can't touch me. They can't do nothing to me. They can't. That's what they keep, the mentalities. But like you heard what the officer said, there's a lot they can do. I'm bringing it back to what he said. As the officer said, if you see them, you can call 911 or is it 119? Is that the main one? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, then the officer's saying if it is, then you just ring 999. I'd agree with that too, but I would say stand your ground and say something to him first, because I believe if it's a member from this community and it's someone that they know of or somehow, if they say something, it's a lot hard hitting. Where's Zubair? There he is. Is he gone? Zubair's not here. He was here earlier. There's a brother here called Zubair, very famous brother from the masjid, always been with us. Back in the days when gas bottles were about, this gas bottle, all about normal gas and glue. That brother there came to us, and believe me when I say this to you, he told every one of us, stood there saying, you take this is what's going to happen. Are you off your heads? This is where it is, this is where it's going to lead to. I still remember that. And he was just here a bit ago. I think he's gone, but if I can remember that as a young person, someone from my own community, who was known person from the area, who came forward and said, listen, this is the effects, this is the damages, this is what's going to happen. For me, that stuck into my head. So that's my side of it. But from, like I said, the community generally, some people may not have the courage. Some people think no. Then you go back to option B, which is bring the police and go down that element of it. But once again, like the officer says, the minute you've taken it, it's far quicker out of your system. If you're taking cannabis and the officers pull you, right, let's have a little sample from you. And it's a swab on the mouth, am I right, officer? Yeah, swab on your mouth, bam, click. 2 seconds later, happy birthday, you are now positive. Huh? What happens now? Oh, it wasn't me. I was sat here, I was sat with my friend. It wasn't, honest to God, he sat in the car. Yeah. Come with us to the police station. You can't take me. No, I haven't done no crime. No, you come into the police station. We're doing a blood sample from you. I'm not giving a blood sample. No way, by law, you can't touch me. Yeah, they will get that blood sample. And in the blood sample is where it comes up. How much is in your level and how much is in your system. Can't beat that then, can you? Sorry, another question? Okay. So we've got another question from the sister. How much is the street value of this? Well, this here you can get a box, which is down there, they call it, for 125 quid per bottle, £20 to £25. Between 2 people, next to nothing. That's why it's quite easy for someone to just buy this thing. Okay. How much is the street value drugs when people ask their parents for some money? Okay, so like I said, £20 to £25 is one of these at the end of the day. Your telltale signs that I personally think are your balloons and your tops. These, they will not keep in the car, as everyone knows. They'll just fling them out of the window, and that's that. The other section, what can we ask the youth to understand this? Okay, we've got a question from downstairs. How can we, or what can we tell the youth today? Well, my message is smart whips kill. Simple. It may take a bit of time, it may take a couple of months, it may take a couple of hours, it may take 10 minutes, it doesn't make a difference. One bottle and you're done. Funny for me is the stuff on there says it's telling you that this is a harmful kind of substance. But most of our young people, what they do is they look at it and think, he's doing it, he's all right, I'll do it, I'll be all right. And then it gets to a stage where it's on. And for me, the usage of it is like I said, on the balloon. But a lot of people now are putting it in their mouth. and then they just, you see the pressure coming out of that, and when it's going in, that hits a person a lot different. The balloon, you just slowly going in, that will just take you straight because of the pressure going in. So once again, bringing it back to the youth, any drugs, because there's other bits on the program we're talking about. Every kind of a drug is addictive, and it will get hold of you. When it gets hold of you, it's going to be quite hard to kind of get away from it. There are support mechanisms, organisations that are willing to help, but the thing is you as a community have to bring that forward, tell them you can't keep brushing it under the thing like people have done in the past. Any other questions before we?
Yeah, can I just say as well, so you can buy a box of sticks, but that's for commercial use. So from a police perspective, if, for example, given the example you gave, where you've got 4 bottles on your own, then you would be locked up for possession with intent to supply.
Do not see me after this event because I'll be taking the bottle home.
Which is a really serious offence. You'll be locked up, you'll be taken out of cells and processed. For the younger people here who think, well, you've never been in trouble with the law, you're going to go from something very, never been involved with the police to something really high in an investigation. So having, even if it's just for yourself, but there's a large amount of it, we can lock over for possession with intent to supply and then go from there.
Okay. Last question, and we'll carry on later.
Is there any reason that it affects some people while they're in it?
It does. Just like any drugs, each person's body is different at the end of the day. 2 people can take the same drugs, but the different effects will come out of it. One might go paranoia, one might be all happy, one might be quiet, one might be like, someone's not right, So it affects each differently. From what I've seen, it is definitely something that's different to each kind of a group. Also, the environment that you're in, it's another one. Okay, I think that's enough for me for questioning. We'll come back to any more questions at the end of it, and if you have got any, please don't hesitate to ask. I'll hand it back over. Thank you very much for your time. Jazakallah.
First of all, Jazakallah Nas and Dave for this. Masha, I've been listening and a lot of people asking, what does he do? I'm going to tell you an example that has nothing to do with the drugs. Over 4 years ago, my sister was going to Pakistan. So I took my mom, me, my wife, my mom, we went to meet our sister and we met the family. So my mom said she's going to stay behind for a while. So I said, that's fine. So usually about 3:30 before 4 o'clock, I do a bit of Qiyamul, go to sleep. So in the front room, I was lying asleep. And my mom, she came in and she walked in the passage. And next minute, she sat on the settee and something was right. And my daughter, she quickly came and she goes, Abu, come, something's wrong with Daddy. And I quickly got up and I went to my mom and I realized she's going through a stroke. And what is stroke? Oxygen that deprives the brain. So when I saw what stage she was going through, I quickly rang 999. For 4 weeks, she was on life support machine and it touch and go. 4 years on now, my mom is lying there. She can't speak. She's stable, alhamdulillah. But when I talk to her, she doesn't reply. So every day I sit there telling the same stories and talk about the same things. And she might just nod. She might just say one odd word. But what I'm trying to say is, obviously, it's not drug related, but depriving the brain of oxygen does a lot of damage to you. So taking a little bit of this, that's what stroke is. It's depriving the brain of oxygen. And look at the damage that it's done. So we should think that, you might think it's only a little few second buzz. Only I think a month or 2 months ago on BBC News on iPlayer, I saw an 18-year-old young girl that had taken this and now she couldn't walk and she's giving an interview how dangerous this is. You've probably seen it yourself. So, the evidence is all in front of us and we know what reality is. Inshallah, we'll talk more about these things at the end. Inshallah, you get the opportunity to ask questions. On vaping is another one, our youngsters, in front of us, 8, 9, 10-year-old kids I went recently to a wedding of my own family members, and kids, they were normal to vape. And nowadays you can't even tell your own nephews or nieces off. If you do, who are you to ask? Who are you to tell me? So we had an incident last year in madrasa where one of the older kids started supplying to other kids, and it became an issue. And we were talking about this with Nas. It's the first step towards going down a very dangerous line. And we've got Brother Abdullah, he'll talk about his history and what he's been through. And when you hear the stories, it'll make you cry. So today's program is not here, we're encouraging you to take drugs and this is how you utilize drugs, but it's to discourage you and to educate you and make you aware of what's out there. And if we can just sit here, be blind and push underneath the carpet, no, it doesn't affect me, it doesn't bother me, it doesn't bother my house. Then we're just living in denial. We have to wake up to reality, what's out there. So that's why we've started this program. Hopefully, inshallah, we'll carry on benefiting each other. You also, you with patience. Inshallah, we've got a couple more speakers. The next speaker is Hafiz Mohammed Rafiq Mayed Sab. He's in Johannesburg, South Africa, and they have a health center, a drug rehab center, I think, for the Muslim community. And Brother Abdullah had spent 8 months there, and he will tell you the stories and how they work with the Muslim community and how they reform people that are on heroin, crack cocaine, and different things. We was supposed to get him on here, but they're having some issues. So he's going to do a WhatsApp call to me, and hopefully we'll put him on WhatsApp. So you'll have to do a bit of patience, and inshallah, same time, we'll inshallah benefit from what he's got to say. Assalamu alaikum. Afsab, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, yourself.
So Afsab, you're live, inshallah. So, Bismillah, if you tell us about what you do and how you work with the Muslim community there in South Africa and the issues that you face, and just to make us aware of the reality.
Inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد رب يسر ولا تعسر وأتمم بالخير رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل لساني يفقهوا قولي. Respected ulama, friends, brothers and sisters in Islam, alhamdulillah. First of all, I would like to thank the brothers on the podium that educated us on the laughing gas. But the laughing gas has not been started yet, okay, in a big way. But we expect it to be that way as well. Okay, and the second of all, I'd like to tell Maulana and your team, they are instrumental in putting the stories together. Inshallah, that will be what it's like being in the community. For instance, we have a scourge. It's currently affecting every facet of our lives. We look at our schools, our madaris, our colleges, our universities, our Islamic institutes, including our health sector, has been faced with the scourge. The scourge does not see color, creed, race, religion, or gender, nor does it see age. To give an example related to the age, the youngest patient the mother brought to the center was 6 years old on crack cocaine. The youngest patient that was admitted to the center is 7 years old for crystal meth. So we need to understand such a scourge affects every facet. Initially we thought it was a local defect, then it became a communal defect, now it's become a global defect. It's affecting everyone, every second home is affected with the scourge of substance. I think relating to, I think we were given some amount of time relating to for us understanding what addiction is. Okay? Then brothers, we need to first, for us to understand and edit, we need to understand what addiction is. To simplify and define addiction, addiction is uncontrollable, unmanageable desire. Simple terms, it's a psychological dependency. That means when a person is experimenting with a substance, it's a psychological thing. Once a person goes to his second stage of dependency, from pre-dependency to codependency, then it becomes a psychological and physical. It means once he finds a choice of drug, It goes to the second stage of addiction where it becomes a physical and psychological thing. Once a person is in the second stage of addiction, okay, the mind tells him how good it is, the body tells him how good it feels. Then from there he goes, the time he satisfies both, becomes dependent. And then he goes to his third stage of addiction. In the third stage of addiction becomes a chronic addiction. It's no more psychological addiction, it becomes a physical addiction. The mind don't is body busy. It's called psychosomatic. It means the body tells the mind what to do. It means when a person gets a craving, there's no thinking ability. The brain shuts down. The body demands what it demands. To give an example, one or two case studies before I take on further. We had a patient get a step with his mother. She gave birth last year sometime. We had another patient that's been raping his sister for the past 6 years. She's 13 years old. He's raping her from the age of 6. She's 13 now. We had another patient who wanted $50. She refused. When she refused, she was frying some things in the kitchen. He took the whole pot of oil and he burned the shit 30 burns. We had a patient here, for example, that he was on crack cocaine. Okay, he put his wife, who's 19 years old, on crack cocaine. Okay, when his drugs were finished, he used to point his wife to the Nigerians. This will come back with 3 or 4 pieces of crack. So we need to understand, when a person goes to a third stage of addiction, one is in chronic addiction, there's no thinking about it. A person does what he has to do. If he needs a drug, there's no way you can stop it. So we need to understand that what drugs do. I think the community currently feels like what I said earlier, that you know what, it's not happening to me, it's not happening in my home. But what we need to understand is sometimes, a lot of times, families are in denial, but accepting there's a problem at home. And when a person maybe starts initially with cannabis or weed, and the parents say he's only smoking weed, or only smoking cannabis, but understanding it's a gateway drug. From there, it can excel to maybe whatever drug it is. Currently, the most used drug in South Africa is crystal meth. 95% of patients is coming in here for a stimulant. That means I'm talking an upper, is crystal meth. The highest form of a downer currently is heroin. Okay, so guys are coming in such a stage now that we find it also in the facility very, very difficult to control and monitor because of the crystal meth being a hallucinogenic. Guys are starting to hear, see things. So it's affecting even us at the center, is making it very, very difficult. Currently, I'm sure everybody knows, currently, I'm talking about the designer drugs. There are currently 6 categories of drugs. Okay, we have our THC, that's our weed. We get about 5, 6 different type of weeds, maybe 7. We're talking about your indoor, outdoor, your skunk, your purple haze, your cheese, your medication, your swasi, your marijuana. So it's all different type of weed. But currently, the most common used weed in South Africa is indoor. Indoor is mixed with acids, so it becomes hallucinogenic. Okay, your second category of drugs is your COC, your cocaine, and crack. Okay, the same thing. One is cooked, one is snuffed, one is smoked. Okay, your third category of your drugs is your OPI, that means your opiates, that means your codeine, methadone, morphine, and heroin. Okay, that's on your downers. Then you have your benzodiazepines. That's your sleeping tablets. Most commonly used in South Africa is Gohidral and 542s. Okay, your other category of drugs is your methamphetamines, your amphetamines. I don't think anywhere in the world currently using a drug called cat, but it's most commonly used in South Africa. The most active ingredient of cat is ephedrine. Okay, ephedrine is more or less used in swimming capsules. Most of the girls in South Africa are hooked onto ephedrine. Why? Because hooked onto cat. Why? Because they want to lose weight. If they use bioslim, it might take them 1 year or 2 years to lose 5 to 6 kilos. But if you use cat within a maximum month and a half period, you will lose your weight. Okay, so most of the girls in South Africa are hooked onto cat. And your other category of drugs is your crystal meth. Okay, crystal meth is something that is killing our kids in South Africa. There is no control. They talk to themselves. They hallucinating. They hearing voices. They beating up their families, beating up their parents. Beating up their spouses. So those are the 6 categories that we are currently dealing with mostly in South Africa. I think I was told to discuss more what is relating to a rehab facility. Okay, in our facility, we have a facility that's about 4.5 kilometers in size. Okay, we have 2 psychologists on site, 3 now, sorry, and we have a full-time drug counselor and we have a full-time imam on site to the spiritual aspect. Okay, we run the 12-step program, we run the training cycle, the relapse process, and we do a lot of life skills, making the patient understand the reality of life. Then also we have 3 to 4 group therapy sessions per day, and we have 2 AA meetings per week, and we have every second week where we do family counseling. You know, like they say, drug addiction is a kind of illness which if the family members get help, the drug addict get well. So you know, a lot of people feel that a rehab facility is a factory, you know, and there's a shortcut to recovery. A lot of people take recovery as an event. Recovery is not an event. Recovery is a process. It is a very painful healing process. Okay, a lot of people come into recovery taking it for granted. That, you know, when I come from a facility, everything will be okay. It's not going to be okay. A rehab facility is just for a person coming to a facility and isolating himself and trying to find the root of the problem of where or what made him do what he's doing. Go through his underlying issues and we're trying to solve that issues out. A lot of times, families or parents feel if my son comes to a facility, he's going to be okay. A lot of people think a facility is a factory, you know. It's like putting buns on one side and the other side of sausage or balloon shoots up. It can't happen. The rehab facility is not a factory. You know, if there was a shortcut to recovery, all of celebrities and all, they wouldn't have passed away or died of drug overdose. If there was a shortcut, we have taken one injection and sort your life out. Rehab facility is just to get you away from your environment for a while, so you find yourself, deal with your personal issues, deal with your underlying issues, try and sort your domestic issues, your families out. So that's what we've done with the facility, okay? We also run a nice and detox program. It's an ultraviolet heat sauna program, where these special ultraviolet heat saunas. It does not have stoves. What they have is the heat come out from the panels. They use nice and timing, activated charcoal, calmac. There's a whole lot of multivitamins that you use to detox and clean up the body, including the colon. So we run a 3 to 4 day detox program. So when a patient normally comes in here, after about 2 days, we give him time to settle down and get orientated. And after 2 to 3 days, we run a detox program where we have to detoxify him. So within a 4 or 5 day period, the drugs are out of the body. What also we need to understand is that certain drugs take certain time to stay in your system. So like, you've got crack cocaine, it's maximum 5 to 7 days. You've got a benzodiazepine, say 10 to 14 days in the system. You're smoking normal weed, 30 to 35 days, using chronic indoor weed, we started to get through the experience where we test guys, it takes up to after 2 months, 2.5 months to stay in the system. So we go through the whole process of addiction. We educate them on what addiction is all about. Okay, they stay in-house at the center for a period of 6 weeks. They miss 42 days. Some people they have an option to stay another 42 days, and then we ask them to get released. A lot of times, parents tell us that, I can't keep my son for 6 months to a year. But I'm understanding, he can't live his whole life in a facility. He needs to come back and reintegrate back into society. But also, another thing we need to understand, a lot of times people feel, my son has a drug addiction, he has one addiction, he doesn't have one addiction. We've come to pick up that a person that has an addiction, he has 2 addictions. Maybe one is his drug addiction, and 2 is character defects. Because of his addiction, his character defects, his behavior, his attitude is also changed. That means the lying, the cunning, the manipulation, the irresponsibility, the anger, the aggression, the violence, the abuse, the eating pattern, the sleeping pattern, everything has changed because of the addiction. Those behaviors, and those character defects weren't playing its part before the addiction. Once the addiction came in, all these other character defects came in. So when a person comes to the facility, we have to work with the substance part, and we have to work with the character defects. And we have to work with the families who've been through the trauma of going through this. If you look at in South Africa, 90 to 95% of criminal activity is drug related. 90 to 95% of divorce cases drug related. 90 to 95% of child abuse, wife abuse, rape cases drug currently, it's taken the country by storm. We are inundated with calls of trying to accept people, but we need to also understand, and I think the community also need to understand that they're dealing with one addict at home. We're dealing with between 60 to 70 at a time. So it's something that's very, very difficult to deal with. But inshallah, Allah give us the ability to carry on doing whatever is being done and help us progress, inshallah. I think I don't want to go into more case studies because some of them are very, very serious of relating to what substance is currently doing to the communities. We have situations also, one I give you another one or two, where we have now Nigerians or dealers that have actually opened up a so-called crash in their homes. So what they're doing that if a mom and dad is on drugs, the parents are calling their children overnight for maybe $300, and they come and collect their children the next morning or 2 days later with double the amount. So that will give you an understanding of what levels the substance is going to. We have a lot of more patients at the death center and committed suicide. A lot of guys, wives have also committed suicide. So these things are affecting us in such a way that we don't know, how we can control this habit. I think advice to the families and the parents. Okay, we picked up here that 90% of our patients bring up two things that have drove them, or two underlying issues that they had while growing up. One is communication, and two is quality time. There are that feel that while growing up, parents are too busy in doing what they have to do to earn a living or to sustain their children and do things like that, where they're forgetting that the children did not get the quality time that they require and never get there was no open communication where a child will sit with his dad and discuss open things relating to what the situation is. We have guys here that were even molested when they were 7 years old. We have guys that were either bullied in school. We have guys that seen physical, psychological abuse between parents, or either they were physically and psychologically abused by growing up. A lot of times kids and addicts have seen all those things in their lives. And they have no one where they can communicate to and speak about these things. I think Brother Abdullah was there. He always knows what was happening in the center as well.
Jazakallah for your information, and we've got Brother Abdullah, inshallah, he's on next, and I'm sure he'll give more details about the work that you're doing, and may Allah reward you, and may Allah bless you, may Allah make easy your task, and it must be a difficult thing to do every single day and to see the society in such a condition. May Allah Ta'ala make it easy, may Allah Ta'ala accept all your efforts, inshallah. And Jazakallah for coming on.
I have Sahih here, if you are giving 5 minutes, but he's from the UK as well, then he can explain also certain things if you want.
Okay. We'll give you a few minutes. So this is one of them from UK that's gone to South Africa. He's there on rehab, so he's gonna just talk for a few minutes. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Okay. Yeah, my name's Tahir, so I just wanted to give you guys, I know everyone was there, I was actually in addiction myself for a few years before I came to rehab in Macalester. So just wanted to give you guys an idea of what recovery is like, and it's not that there's no hope for every addict out there as well. Okay, well, the question always become familiar to us that what is recovery like at Harrisburg? For me, to understand what recovery was, I had to first understand what addiction was. Now, addiction for me was, everyone says it's a compulsion, it's an obsession, but what I recognize it as, it was a loss of action, connection with our creator. That's what leads us to addiction, and that's what makes us search for these drugs as well that we use and get the high that we need as well. I know people use drugs for many reasons, recreation, everything, but that's when the true addiction really kicks in. It's purely because we've lost that faith in Allah. So now, from Harrisburg rehabilitation, we don't have anything like this in the United Kingdom. Hence, I've had to come all the way to South Africa for it. I've been here almost 4.5 months, and in terms of that, if anybody, the parents are actually looking for something, I just want to give them an idea of that. Look, there is a rehab facility that can help us out. We've got a lot of the UK patients coming through now. I think we've got almost about 8 patients at the moment that actually come through. And previously, whilst I've been here, the 4 months, we've had about at least another 8 patients come and go as well. And they've been very successful once they've left from here as well, majority of them. Obviously, recovery is dependent on the individual as well. If the individual wants to recover and move away from these addictions and move away from drugs, then it's possible. We've had guys coming from all sorts of hard drugs as well, and also obviously the popular substance has been cocaine usage from the UK as well. So just wanted to let you guys know that look, there is one that actually focuses on the makes you allows you to get your connection to Allah. Okay, just to give you an idea, before I came to McAllisterburg, I couldn't remember the last time I prayed Jummah with Jamaat. Yeah. Now I'm 4.5 months almost into my recovery. To be honest with you, about 1.5 months, I couldn't remember the last time I missed the Hajj prayers, let alone any first prayers. Yeah. So it is a place where your reconnection and you lose once you get the actual recognition of your creator and you realize what your purpose in life is and what Allah's created you for, automatically that love for that drug and addiction, it disappears as well. Yeah. I know you guys are pressed for time, so I won't continue on it, but I just want to give any parents out there, any brothers out there, any fathers out there, any siblings, anybody that's actually looking, has anybody that will bring in and obviously introduce to some sort of recovery. They think that there's no hope. McAllisterburg, to reputation, is a place that I believe, well, it has been for me, an Islamic institution that will, and I think it's a very successful place that you can actually bring them to people. So yeah, jazakallah for you guys.
Jazakallah. So today's program, first and foremost, we want to work at grassroots levels to discourage our youth going into drugs and to understand our purpose in life. But then we have to see here, and reality is there are members of our family, relatives, friends that are into drugs. But how can they get help? So hopefully today we can signpost you towards the right people. MashaAllah, what Hafsa were doing in South Africa, they want to do a similar setup here in the UK. So basically they've got like a madrasa, not for Islamic education, but just a drug rehab. And to reconnect people to first and foremost Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and second with the community and their own family. And the biggest drug that we as Muslims need is La ilaha illallah. But we don't seem to take that drug, or we ignore that drug, the dhikr of Allah. Allah bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. Only with the dhikr of Allah, the remembrance of Allah, your heart will be content. So we have to take the best drug, and that's the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala gives all the tawfiq to do so. Inshallah, next we've got Brother Abdul Ahad, who has spent 8 months at this rehab center, and he'll talk about his, I think, mashallah, he came on Jamaat here last year for 40 days. They were here in the masjid, and we just got talking. And next minute he's telling me stories of his life in drugs, and I thought, wow, it was sad to hear, but it was like, I couldn't hear, believe what he's saying. But I took his number down and said, I might need to call you one day. And that's today, alhamdulillah, we got this opportunity to listen to his story. Alhamdulillah, he's come a long way. May Allah keep him steadfast upon the deen. Mashallah, he's really reformed himself. For 30 years, he was on crack cocaine. But he'll tell you about himself. Abdullah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. First and foremost, I would like to say Jazakumullah, special thanks to Maulana Sadi Sahab and the trustees of Masjid Umar and the community of Bradford and the officers who have come and our brothers from other institutions. Jazakumullah khairan. First and foremost, I've got some youngsters on that side. Can they please come forward? On that side, can they bring those youngsters and just bring them over there in the corner? So it'll be nice if they can come right at the end. Jazakumullah. All the youngsters, come through, mashallah.
You
Mashallah.
had a nice den there. It
All
was
the
really
youngsters
nice.
come through.
Really nice den. I enjoyed
Because
it.
I think they're hiding, you see.
But they were quiet, weren't they? They were peaceful and quiet there.
Alhamdulillah. So if you can come right at the front, mashallah, there's plenty of space, I'm sure. Brothers can move forward. Jazakallah. First and foremost, I would like everybody to pray Durood Sharif. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. All praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has given us iman kalima shahadat la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Before I start, my name is Abdullah ibn Abdul Samad Musa Ali Bhai, my late father who passed away a few years back. I just want to start off with it's called a creed. It's very important, and I read this. It's very close to my heart. That we got taught this in our rehabilitation in South Africa, Magaliesburg Health Center. It's a day talk philosophy, so please listen carefully. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I am here because there is no refuge. I am here because there is no refuge. Finally, for myself, until I confront myself in the eyes and hearts of others. I am running. I am running until I suffer them to share my secrets. I have no safety from them, afraid to be known. I can know either myself nor any other. I will be alone. Where else but in my common ground can I find such a mirror? Here, together, I can at last appear clearly to myself, not as giant of my dreams, nor the dwarf of my fears, but as a person, part of the whole, with my share in its purpose. In this ground, I can take root and grow, not alone anymore, as in death, but alive to myself and others. Amen. One more chapter I'd like to read. Who is an addict? If you listen carefully, who is an addict? Most of us do not have to think twice about this question. We have known our whole life and thinking was centered in drugs in one form or another, the getting and using and finding ways and means to get more. We live to use and use to live. Very simply, an addict is a man or a woman. An addict is a man or woman whose life is controlled by drugs. We are people in the grip of a continuing and progressive illness, whose ends are always the same: jail, institution, and death. My dear respected brothers and elders, got a lot of, mashallah, good crowd, and the brothers and the youngsters who are also here. It's very important that we listen to what I've got to say, and the sisters who are also listening here and at home and around the UK. My dear respected brothers and elders, me, my life, and the world of drugs. Abdullah Ali Bhai. First and foremost, we all come into this world, when we are created, when we come to this world, we come clean, we're innocent, sinless. As we come into this dunya, this world, we get looked after by our parents. You know, they love you, they feed you. Because we don't have no power, you know, we can't eat from our hands, we can't talk, we're little babies. You know, so our mother, our parents, you know, they look after us, time will go by, 1 month, 6 months, a year. You know, we start crawling, we start walking, then the first word we say, Mommy, Papa, you know. That's the first word we will say. Slowly, you know, we will start going to school, nurseries, growing up. As we grow up, the life starts. Youngsters, teenagers. Teenagers. We go to school, we go to colleges, friends, environment, people around us, the world, things are in front of us. My dear respected brothers, I was like this once. I was like this. You know, growing up, born and bred in London. So I kind of grew up. I think the first time I tried, in my time back in the 86, 87, about 17, 18, I think that was the first time I tried drugs. In my time, it was marijuana, it was hash. As we used to call it, 00, rocky, lead. So that's what we kind of started on. Remember, it's a smoking cigarettes is a gateway. Then you get introduced to the drugs. So hash at the time, that's the only thing we could afford. We were working part-time. I was working in fashion in Oxford Street, in London. Eventually, not knowing where your life is going to take you. So I kind of we were smoking hash with friends, you know, going work, earning money, thinking we're in control. Yes, I was in control. So that went on for a number of years. Eventually, then came nightclub. Once nightclub goes in, what comes in? Drinking, alcohol. So you've got drugs on one side, you've got alcohol on one side, then you've got your enjoyment on one side. So that happened, you know, we kind of weekends with friends, we meet up, you know, because Monday to Friday work, Saturday, Sunday we're off, not working, so we've got nothing to do, so we decided, what do we do tonight? Let's go South End Beach, you know, in the summer, have a laugh, have a joke. That's what we were doing, you know, going to nightclubs, coming back late, sneaking out the house, you know, telling the parents, oh, we're going out to so-and-so place, we'll be back at this time, you know. So that went on for a number of years. Eventually got married, you know, at the age of 24 got married, alhamdulillah. Even then I was kind of using marijuana, went into marijuana. Again, it's a gateway drug, just smoking marijuana, not knowing again where my life is going to take me. So 24, 34, 35, I think. What did I get introduced to? Because remember one thing is experiment. You know, we will experiment things as we grow up. Cigarettes, like today's vapes, laughing gas, cigarettes, marijuana. So it's a gateway open. So we will experiment. And then you make a choice. We make a choice that, okay, cigarettes right for me, so I'm only going to smoke cigarettes. So that is also an addiction. A person will say, vaping is right for me, like Brother Naz said, Dave, you know, laughing gas, you know, people make choices. So my choice was obviously marijuana, then eventually I was introduced to crack cocaine. So I got introduced to crack cocaine and I thinking I was working, earning money, as Rafiq Bhai would say, from South Africa, it was on early on, you know, it's a mind thing first, you know, you're at it, you'll be working, you'll be earning your money, you know, you'll be in control, you know, just, you'll be in control for a little while. A time will come, the mind will shut down, the body will demand what it demands. You are not in control, you lose your job, people will start knowing that there's something wrong with him, he's losing weight, he's coming in late, he's not eating, he's not communicating. Wife, children, family, community, friends, they will look at me. What's wrong with you? This was my problem. This was my problem, my brothers. This is what happened to me. You know, I'm thinking, I'm okay. I'm in control. Anyone who smokes substance out there, let me tell you something. You're never going to be in control. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you're never going to be in control. You will be in control for a short while. A time will come will control you. Because mentally, psychologically, you're not right. It will become a chronic disease. Okay? So I went on for years, and crack cocaine was my life. I started going knocking on people's doors at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, manipulating. I manipulate myself, manipulate other people. I'm not in control. I'm high. I need my fix. I need to go out there. It's chasing. It's the first hit that makes you feel good. Ask Naz, ask Dave, they'll tell you. Okay? It's the first hit, my dear respected brothers. And it's all about chasing. It's all about chasing. You just chase. It's never going to end. It will never end. A person will end up in 3 places. Either prison, rehabilitation center, or the grave, 6 foot under. Remember, there's 2 parts of the human being. One's the human part, one's the being part. Human part dies, and the human part dies, goes to the cupboard, goes to the grave, disintegrates. The being part goes to Allah, our Creator, and that stays alive. My dear respected, my time was so bad, it was so bad, that I needed to reach out. And for an addict, they have to reach out. Not today, not tomorrow. A time will come, they will 100% reach out, as the people will say. They will reach out because they will be the lowest of the lowest. Because Allah's taken them to the ground and they've got no one to turn to. No one. Family will give up, friends will give up. He's an addict, leave him, let him go, let him die. Kick him out the house. He'll be on the street. Similar thing happened to me, my dear respected brothers. My wife, my children, my family, brothers, sisters, my father, my mother was passed away now. 2020, I remember. I had to reach out. And only the way I'm going to do that, and that happened, is through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah put it in my heart. Abdullah, it's enough. You've got no one to go to. Come to me. I'm waiting for you. It's scary, my dearest brother. Allah took a lot of things away from me. He took a lot of things from my respect, dignity, everything. I lost my car, I lost my phone. I will tell you, a person will become in addiction such that his family, he will forget. His family will be drugs. Wallahi. A time will come that he will sell everything. His mobile phone, his tablet, his car, his belongings, his clothes, everything. His wife's jewelry, children's phones, tablets, everything. It will go. If the iPhone is worth £1,000 today, you'll sell it for £100 just to get that fix. Listen to me, my brothers, seriously. Listen. So I had to reach out. How did I reach out? Spinney Hill. Alcohol drug rehab support group is based in Leicester. Hafiz Abdul Budi, the director. I had to reach out. I had to phone one of my cousins up. I said, I need help. So he phoned in, and then they came to my house. Once, twice, 3. They kept on coming. Although I was using, they kept on coming. At that time, there wasn't a center. There was a new office. Once a week, I just wanted a counsellor from Turning Point. Once a week. I used to go. I got no money on me, nothing. I used to go. I used to walk from my house 3 miles every week, 3-4 miles every week, because I had no car. I lost everything. I was in a state. Eventually, I went, and then I come back from my 1 hour session of with my counsellor, and then I'll go out. What's in my mind? I need my fix. Remember what I said. It's not the mind, and the mind shut down. It's the body demands what it demands. It's a craving. It's a nerve in the system that we crave. Somebody might be craving water. Somebody might be at work. You know, nice hot summer day. So I need a milkshake, or I need this, I need that. They'll work 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It lasts 15 to 20 minutes in your system, then it disappears. Yeah, then you forget about it. But I was in control. Psychologically, I wasn't right. Mentally, I wasn't right. Physically, I wasn't right. I had a chronic disease. My brothers. So I had to reach out to Spinny Hill, and December 9, 2019, January 2020, and in February 2020. That's when Abu Azul said, Abdullah, get ready to go to South Africa. I had no money because I lost everything. So who helped me? My family helped me. You know, maybe those few people through relatives. And then they paid for my ticket. I'm thinking I'm going for 3 months. Rafiq said 46 days, 50 days, about 2 months, 2 to 3 months. A person who's on addiction, then you just go there, spend your time 2 to 3 months. So I had to go. Before I left, my dear respected brothers, my father was on his deathbed. Last stages, 2020, 9th of February 2020. My father was on his last stages. His eyes were closed, he was in the house. I remember feeding him the last grade. He loved super malt, so his dad, you want anything? I said, yeah, give me some malt, super malt. I gave him some super malt. Alhamdulillah. And then that was it. And then I made math. I said, Dad, forgive me, his eyes were closed. Remember, the relationship between a father and a son is different, and the relationship between a mother and a son is different. Okay? I had a lot of respect for my father. I had a lot of love for my father, but I couldn't show it. So I said, I made math. I said, Dad, forgive me. He didn't say nothing, his eyes were closed. I went outside, my brothers, my relatives, my luggage in the car. Allah put it in my heart. Go back inside, you're not going to meet your father again. This is it. So I kind of went back inside, you know, with my father, my mother, and my brothers and sisters. Then I left. And they told me, bye, brother, son. My mother said, go there, sort yourself out, deal with it. You're going to lose everything, your wife, your kids, everyone. You'll be alone, you'll be on the street. You won't have nobody. I left. Even before I left, I used big time. For a couple of days I went away. I ended up in crack houses. How I ended up, I don't know. Just went down people in the street, other addicts, they took me down there, ended up in using. 20 pounds became 50 pounds, 50 pounds became 60, 100, 200 a day, 300, 400, 500, 1,000. It's not about the money, my dear friend, it's about you. Because we put it on ourselves. We're the one who choose. We know what's right and wrong, but we choose that. We choose that path. Thinking, there must be something out there. You know, we can get away from this world, get away from the people around us, and find something that's going to give us happiness. It's not going to happen, my dear friend. That's not happiness. It's not going to happen. So anyway, Spinning Hill will help me a lot. To get all my paperwork ready, and then I flew from London Heathrow. long flight, 16, 17 hours, had to change over. Got to Johannesburg Airport. So on Monday, 10th February 2020, I got picked up by an Uber driver. And then eventually got taken to 2 hours drive to Mechanicsburg Health Centre. So obviously before I left, Hafiz Abzul Budi, the director, he said, "Look, it's not your comfort zone. It's not your 7-star or 5-star hotel. Get ready for it." I said, "I'm ready for it. I'll be ready for it, inshallah." So I got there, not knowing what we have looked like, not knowing who I'm going to meet, what sort of people are going to be there. I went there, 2 hours drive, I got there about 12, half 11, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, we got there, the first things first, do a test, do a drug test. What was it? Because I wasn't right before I left, I was using it. It became positive. It was positive. Strip search. Okay, strip search. So anyway, I got there, got my tests, and then I met Hafiz Rafiq Saab, the director of Mechanicsburg Health Centre, met him, mashallah. And then the security came, checked all my suitcase, all my clothing, every single bit, every pocket was checked, thinking, did I come with anything? Because that's what they do, that's their job. Eventually, they took my suitcase, they took me to my room, and they introduced me to my room partner. And the room partner was there, and then when I had a shower, I was so tired, I don't know what was going on, because I filled in forms that I didn't even look at. I was signing, that took a long time. Anyway, so I got there. So the first couple of weeks, they call it the honeymoon period. Now they're more relaxed with you. You know, they're not too strict. You know, so nice and sunny, nice hot weather. It's in the valleys, middle of nowhere, jungles, mountain, Mechanicsburg Mountain, Crescent of Hope. That's what it's called. So I was there, and I was just taking it easy, you know, enjoying the sun, you know, trying to get some vitamin. But I wasn't still right. You know, I was going through a withdrawal system. Between 3 to 5 days when a patient comes in, they go through a withdrawal system. And so they don't have to go into class, they don't have to go into the Jama'ah to pray namaz. So they're given that sort of time to adapt. So eventually I kind of, I thought, hold on, I'm not going to go through, yes, I'm going through a withdrawal, but I need to start. Where do I start? Spiritually. I need to start connecting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I need to pay my first namaz that I've prayed for years. You know? So I started praying my namaz, and slowly, you know, they have the Quran, the Yasin Sharif in the morning, the Fajr, the Zikr after Asr, and then we should have the Surah Tabarak, Surah Sajda, Surah Mulk, Surah Waqiyah, you know, that we pray on a daily basis. Then obviously we have the classes. So they've got rules and regulations that you've got to follow at the rehab. Okay, so you've got, Rafiq said about, at that time there was about 100 patients there when I was there. Now there's probably about 50, 60, there's about 100 patients. So you've got two sections. You've got a top section and you've got a bottom section. I was in the bottom section. The top section is like a prison. It's a prison. Okay, it's a massive, it's like this room here, this hall here. You know, so you've got a bed one side, bed on the other side. It's an army camp. Okay? And the rules are different as well. And you have to wash their own clothes. There's cubicles, there's showers there, open showers. You have to come in an open shower and you have your own shower. 2-minute shower. You're going to wash your clothes, you're going to clean up, you're going to wash the dishes, everything. Because remember, when a person who's on addiction, like Rafiq would say, his characteristic will change. Okay, and the drugs will come into it. Not only the drug addiction is there, but it's characteristic, manipulating, you know, pulling people, you know, taking things from people. Now you've got to fix that. How are you going to fix it? It's going to take a long time, brothers, because you've been an addict. Well, I was an addict for 25, 30 years, a long time. How is it going to happen? The only way it's going to happen is through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahi. Anyway, I was there, I was working, I thought, now I'm here. Day 8, 18th of February 2020. I knew I would get this call because I left my father in London on his last stages. Because Allah already put it in my heart, you're not going to be there. If you weren't able to go there, you weren't able to put your father in the cover. I was there. I wasn't there, my respected brothers. I couldn't be there. I was alone. I was very emotional. I had an emotional journey. Very emotional. I lost my father. I had that call, video call. My sister called me. Dad's no more. Inna lillahi wa inna raji'un. What else can I say? I was emotional. I was alone. I walked out of class thinking, I lost my dad, man. You know what? You know what's the last thing I said to my dad? He wasn't there. I looked at the video. I said, Dad, I've never said it before to you. I said, Dad, I love you. I love you, Dad. Couldn't hear me. He couldn't. Eventually, I thought, I'm here for a reason. Remember when a person goes to rehab, he goes for himself. He doesn't go for anybody else. Nobody else. When a person goes to a college, uni, he goes for himself. He wants to be a doctor, wants to be an engineer. Yes, he'll study, yes, he'll make it there. But it's when he comes out to the outside from the uni, from the Darul, he will come out, and then that's where it starts. You can't just stay there, you can't just sit at home. He's got to do something, he's got to get a job, he's got to start earning. So my rehab was my job. My rehab was my job. I connected. Who do I have to connect? Allah. Not only Allah, your class as well, your rehabilitation class. You have to go there every day. You have to wake up in the morning, Fajr time. You don't wake up in the winter, you get cold water bucket thrown in you. And the mattress is wet. Man, I thought, I don't want that. I have to get up. I have to work hard. Remember, the people say it's a process, and it still is a process. Yes, I'm out. I get a title, we get a title, a recovering addict. Because like the Premier League, the football, and when they win the league, that's a title. We get a title, recovering addict. I'm a recovering addict for life. I have to accept what I have to accept, my brothers. I'm a recovering addict for life until I depart from this dunya, this world, until I go and meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, until I've been put into that cover. Then I will be at peace, inshallah. My dear respected brothers, there's 275 million users in the world. 275 million users in the world. Think about it. Every second household got a drug addict. I don't know if you noticed, if you come out of your house, you're going to smell it. You're going to see the drug addicts on a daily basis. Whether you smoke it, whether you're not. Let me tell you a story. There was a father in South Africa, and there was a son. So the son was a drug addict. The son was a drug addict. The mother calls Maulana Sulaiman Mullah. He works with drug addicts as well as Rafiq Bey. Okay, they help people. So the mother calls, says, look, my son is okay for now. He's at ease. He's not using. He's spiritual, he's going to namaz, he's praying namaz, he's coming on normal, he's okay for now. He's okay for now. Eventually the father goes into his bedroom, opens the cupboard up, thinking, see if he can find anything, that he might have left there. He recovered a bag of cocaine. So look at the devil, look how he works. It's amazing. The devil puts a thought in his father's head. He sees a bag in front of him, white powder, cocaine. He said, try it. Look at this. He tries it. After some time, the wife, she phones Mullah, because my son's okay for now, but my husband's become a drug addict now. Experimental. What did I say in the beginning? Experiment. Don't even think about it. The other thing we would say, the youngest child to come in our rehab center was 6 years old on crack cocaine. 6. The second youngest was 7 on crystal meth, the devil's drug. It's a stimulant. You know, there was a brother there who basically told me his story that his father passed away and he was in the graveyard, a Muslim brother. He said, I had to stand away, hundreds of yards away. I couldn't go there. I couldn't go and go with my father. I was high. I was high. You know, there was one brother, because crystal meth is the devil's drug. It's a stimulant. That's the highest form of drug you can get. A person will not sleep for weeks. Forget the crack cocaine where 2-3 days I'll sleep and not go without it. Crystal meth is such a drug that you won't sleep for weeks. You'll be like a zombie, walking, all your skin will peel off. This is how people, if you look at videos of crystal meth, it will tell you. Okay, so this brother, he puts his mom in one corner, he puts his dad in one corner in the house. The houses are quite big in South Africa, mansions, and he puts his wife in the middle. And he walks around in a baseball bat, thinking there's someone there. Schizophrenia, psychosomatic. The brain will tell you, the devil will tell you there's someone there, but there's no one there. The parents said, there's no one there, son. Just everything's normal. No, there's someone there. You know, we had patients coming to the center, and they'll come into the class, the counselor's there, the class will start, and then after a little while, that same patient will get up, go to the counselor, can you excuse them? Why do you want to be excused? Can you just excuse them? They say, okay, go. They'll go to the room, but one individual, they'll go into his room, he'll lock the door, he'll have a full-blown conversation on his own, 1.5 hours. He'll question, he'll looking at the wall, he'll question, and he will answer. After 1.5 hours, he'll come out normal. You know, we get patients coming in. Rafiq Bhai, he gets phone calls from families saying that my son's got something inside him, a jinn. You know, get some taweez, get some parilupani, get some water, blessed water, you know. Rafiq Bhai just ignored it. He said, no, let him come, bring them. Bring them. After 4 weeks, they come out normal because of your detox. I have to go for my detox. 50 tablets I do. 50. It takes out all the rubbish from your system. Remember, marijuana, you smoke it, 40 days, 45 days, it's in your system. Crack, cocaine, heroin, other substance, you use, it's in your system for 5 days. They say it comes out, it's not out, because it sits on the bone marrow. And that's where all the disease starts. Cancer, amputation, other diseases. My dear sister will finish us off. Drug addiction will finish us off. Wallahi, don't take it lightly, especially the youngsters. The drug addiction is such an addiction, it can happen to anyone at any given time. And I've seen it. Last year I was always speaking to a brother. So this year in Blackman I was speaking to, I was in Jamaat. And one elderly person came and he goes, he needs help with his son. He speaks to the son. Mahmoud Bhai Gurawala, you know, he was out here. And he spoke to him, he said, go and see Abdullah. So the father came to me and his father was crying. He's crying. He said, help my son, please. He's become an addict. Overnight it happened to him because of some sort of business issues. I went to see him. I said, brother, I went to see his family. I said, come on. And I told him about my story. I said, listen, sort it out now. He said, no, I'm okay. So I know where he's coming from, because not only an addict will understand an addict, or a recovering addict will understand an addict. So I told his family, sister, mother, don't worry. Let him be, let him go. Got nothing to do, because psychologically they're not right. Mentally they're not right. They've got an addiction. They get angry, they get cheesed off. They get really, really cheesed off. They don't know what to do. They'll walk out the house. They'll start using it. Then they'll think, now I'm all right. No, it's not going to be all right. It's never going to be all right. Why are you fooling yourself? My dear respected brother, there was a guy who he said in one of his talks, do a urine test. So the father brings the son goes to the toilet. I can't pass water. Because I can't pass water. That's what he's saying. I can't pass water. He closed it, he goes, try again, he closed the door, he passes water. But he doesn't put it in the bottle. Pass the water, he flashes it. I said, I can't pass water. My dear respected brother, a person is going to be doing that, you know what's going to happen? Allah will close the door on you. Allah will close that door on you. And when Allah closes the door on you, khalas, it's finished. Because there's a divine blockage. No Suleiman Mullah, no Hafiz Rafiq Mayed, no Spin Hill, no rehab. No one will be able to help you because there's a divine blockage from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the Creator Himself. Remember, it's a serious, serious issue, my dear sisters, brothers. We need to be knowledge. We need to get involved. Open up a support group, youngsters, elders, the community support officers. Open up a support group. We need to open that support group to help our community because the next generation is going to be full of drug addicts, and I'll guarantee you that. The next generation is going to be full of drug addicts. In our center, in our support group, Spin Hill, Monday we have Quran classes. Tuesday we have a support group. Wednesday we have gym. Thursday we have markers. Friday we have Quran classes. Saturday we have zikr classes. We also do our events. So I have to go out there and do events, set up all my booklet, my store. We've got a drug box that all the drugs are there. Okay. For me, I can't run 150 miles an hour. I can't do that. When a drug addict, when a person comes back from a rehab center, he runs 150 miles an hour. And then that's where he breaks. That's where he breaks. Shaitan will come. I can't take this anymore. I need to go out and relapse. And I've seen people do that over and over again. You can't fool yourself. We can't be doing this, brothers. We can't. If there's brothers out there, if there's sisters out there in your family who need support, contact Spinny Hill. Contact with. We send people from UK to South Africa in partnership with Crescent Hope, in partnership with Turning Point. We send brothers out there. Wallahi. You know, there was a young girl, you know, she stabbed her father 32 times in South Africa, just for drugs, 32 times. There was another young girl, you know, she was born in a crack house. She was a Muslim, you know. The mother, the father, they used to go and sell their bodies, you know, they used to go and perform live, just for like 20, 30 quid. Perform live on stage, just for their fix. Just for their addiction. This girl did not drink alcohol. As she grew up, she became 16, 17, 18. She came to the rehab center in McAllister. She sits down in the office. Rafi Baker, sit down, sister. She said, your father's doing all right. Do you know what she said? Do you know what her answer was? She said, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. She said, I don't want to know what my father's doing because I was born in a crack house. When my grandparents used to give the bed to my parents, I did not sleep on bed, I slept on cardboards. So Rafika is stunned. She said, what is it, sister, you want? But now this girl is 18, 17, 18. Do you know what she said? With tears to her eyes. She said, all I want is a hug from my father. I haven't had for 18 years or 16 years. That's all I want. I want my father to hug me. He came, he hugged for 45 minutes, half an hour, 40 minutes, 45 minutes. My room partner was a murderer, 20 years old, 21 years old. My other room partner was 74 years old, a multi-millionaire, a crack cocaine addict. That center's been running for 22 years. Hafiz Rafiq Mayed. He's been running that place. To go there, to run that place, it's not easy. It's not easy. One individual, you get the best of the best. You know, a famous cricketer who plays for South Africa, a Muslim, his two nephews were there. You get alims coming in, you get Hufaz coming in, you get youngsters coming in, you get doctors coming in, you get all types of people coming in, professionals out there. But it's a rehab. My dear spiritual brothers, all I'm going to say, please, you know, my message is contact us, contact Spinney Hill. Please contact. Go out there, reach out. Because if you don't reach out, it's never going to happen. You're going to make things worse. When I went through a rehab, when I went to South Africa for rehab, my family's all going for rehab because he's not there now. He's finished. You know, he's gone. We can relax. We can be at peace. My dear sisters, brothers, just one message to you. Please reach out to Spinney Hill, Leicester, you know, alcohol, drug rehab support group. We're here to help, and we will keep helping, inshallah. We're here to serve the humanity for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah save you from future events of substance. May Allah save you all, our next generation, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah.
Respect.
Okay, brothers and sisters, that was some powerful stuff. We're coming to the end now, and I'd like to thank all the speakers for everything that they've done and given up their time. Although I've just come up from London, brothers here have just given up their time as well, come especially for us. I'm just going to hand over to Manan Sajid who will wrap up, and then inshallah we'll distribute all the food out. After you, Manan Sajid.
نحمد ونصلي على رسول الكريم وما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا إنما الخمر والميسر والأنصاب والأزلام رجس من أمر الشيطان فاجتنبوا لعلكم تفلحون صدق الله العظيم. Dori, I'm not going to take too long. I'm actually sorry for a long time. We'll just quickly wrap up, inshallah. First and foremost, you know, when we talk about drugs, you know, I was just crying all the way through Abdul Ahad's speech. Now just think of his name, Abdul Ahad, the slave of the one. You know, Allah brought him back, you know, to take, inshallah, khidmat from him. You know, to take khidmat, inshallah, may Allah Ta'ala help you, keep you steadfast on your mission all the way till you die. And all these great people are doing great work. Dave, taking out his time. Naz, mashallah, Naz we see on a regular basis. You know, as we see on the mimbar and we did the bayan with all the sheikhs and maulanas, you would have said, Mauli Sahib, yeah, you're telling us about drugs. What do you know about drugs? You've not taken drugs. You've not been to prison. You don't know what it's like. You don't know what I'm going through, why I'm taking it. And it's true. We don't know. So why we decided to get the people that do know to listen to their stories, that have been there, donate, got the certificate as well. Alhamdulillah, we've been working with the NAS. Last year, we had for our older kids here in Madrasa, a 6-7 week project, just on prison life. What is prison? And you know, our kids were like, they're looking at the slides and they were like, they're shocked. Now we're working with our older students in year 6 for the next 6 weeks about drugs. And what is drugs? Every Monday we have people coming in, educating our children. And last week they've gone through the drug box and the different types of drugs and whatever it is. So next week they can talk about balloons and so all these things, just to educate them. Like I said, look, sometimes not to know is better than to know. Like, you know, before in the past, we didn't know about these things and it was good that way. But unfortunately now, because of social media, our children know everything. They know much more than us. So that's why a program like this is only to raise awareness and educate you people regarding what's out there. And please don't go down this slippery path. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran addresses us Muslims. Oh, you who believe, Muslims. Allah Ta'ala talking to us, not the whole of humanity. Allah Ta'ala talking to us. And Allah Ta'ala saying, intoxicants, gambling, idols, lottery, all these are tools of shaitan. This is how he plays with people. This is what he gets into you. Just like Brother Abdul Ahad was telling you. Allah Ta'ala فَاجْتَنِبُوهُ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. Stay away from them if you want to be successful. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says and tells us why. In the next ayat, Allah Ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَن يُوقِعَ بَيْنَكُمُ الْعَدَاوَةَ وَالْبَغْضَاءَ فِي الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ. Allah Ta'ala telling us and warning us that shaitan, what does he want to do? He wants you to fight. He wants you to be angry with one another. He wants you to break up friendship, break up all kind of ties. And then, not only that, and you also forget the remembrance of Allah. You forget your salat. You forget all these things. Allah is warning us that shaitan is your clear enemy in this dunya. And you still have your iman, but he's going to destroy your life and your amal by these substances. And we all know it's haram. So today wasn't to educate you that it's haram, but today was to tell you people that have done it, the path they've taken, the wrong choices that they made. If you listen to Naz's story, it makes you cry. Him and his mom, the mother's journey that used to every week go to prison. And you listen to that story and you think, wow, she used to catch one bus from here, Bradford to Leeds and to get to Armley. And you think, what our moms and dads are going through whilst you're having your little bit of fun. Just think. So today I want you to go with 3 messages. I thought I'm not going to make it long, just 3 things. First of all, Allah says in the Quran, "Qu anfusakum wa ahlikum nara." Remember, as Musliman, we believe the dunya is only, and everybody believes, we're only here for a short while. Even if we live to 70, 100 years old, what's that compared to a life of eternity? Jannat is for eternity. So dunya life compared to eternity, what is it? A drop in the ocean. We are destroying our akhirat for this drop in the ocean. Is it worth it? It's not, is it? Allah Ta'ala says, save yourself, first of all yourself, and then your family from Jahannam, from the fire of hell. Today, when there's a fire on, or we got the gas fire on, and our little baby starts walking towards the fire, we don't say, Putter, get back. Putter, come on, quickly get back, you're going to burn yourself. We're going to chase that child, quickly run. Otherwise, if he puts his hand in that fire, he'll burn himself. For the dunyawi fire, we have that much fikr and concentration, for that child. What about the fire of the hereafter, which is forever? And the punishment is everlasting. What fikr do we do for that? So first and foremost, every single person, if you're a youngster here, if you're a parent here, you are responsible. You have a duty towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you have to pick up your responsibility. You can't just say, it's somebody else's job. I don't need to bother about it. Tomorrow Allah will ask you about your child. What time did you give him? What friendship did you have with him? Today, children don't have a relationship with their parents. Or we could say the other way, parents don't have a relationship with their children. And that's the biggest, I was saying in Jummah yesterday, my best friend was my father. Because every step of the way, he would pull me up and he would take me to a side. And he wouldn't say, don't do anything. He said, put the way you're doing. And he'll educate me. And I would appreciate it so much. And now I don't have that best friend anymore. My best friend gone 5 years ago. But you guys think, build that relationship. Parents, have that relationship with your children. Give them time, sit down, talk to them. Put your phones away, put your iPads away, sit down, have a meal together, go out, do things together. You need to be friends of your children. If not, there's so many shaitan outside our friends ready to be for your children. So first and foremost, pick up your responsibilities. And second of all, I was going to say that be your child's best friend. That's all of our duty. So from when we go from here, please, ask your child. The other day, again, our own mothers are kids. The kids, their eyes were red, and I said, "What time do you go to sleep?" One said 12 o'clock, one said 1 o'clock. I said, "What are you doing?" So he goes, "I'm on the phone. I'm playing games." On the phone nowadays, you could be other sides of the world. You could be getting groomed. Lots of things can be happening. But again, our parents are just happy, yeah, go to sleep with not worrying what they're watching, what they're doing. It's responsibility, it's our duty. And we need to get this figure inside ourselves. And lastly, the power of prayer. Dua mukhul ibadah is the essence of all worship. Yaqub alayhi salam, Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam, he lost his son Yusuf alayhi salam at a very young age. His brothers took him away from his father, threw him in the well. Now just think the journey that Yusuf went on and the hardships and difficulties he faced. But Yaqub never gave up. He cried till he became blind. But he made dua for him because he knew Allah will reconnect us. So if your child is being tested or has gone down this route, don't lose hope. Don't give up on them. Make dua for them. Yaqub constantly prayed. Yusuf, he was in the well, he was sold in the market, he was getting seduced, he was put in prison. How many tests he went through? But you know what? Allah wanted to elevate his status. And one day what happened? His father and Yusuf met. The du'as didn't go to a waste. Du'as were definitely accepted. And they met one day. Last week I was in another drug program, and this brother, former drug addict, he mentioned a very good point. He said, our Prophet says, Afshu salam, send salam. He goes, we don't realize how much that is. He goes, as a drug addict, I wanted somebody just to say assalamu alaikum to me, just to say hello to me. That's all I wanted. I wanted somebody to connect with me. He goes, that's what I wanted. And he goes, today I'm just going to give you this message. When you see a drug addict, just say assalamu alaikum. Possibly that was the connection he wanted. Like Abdullah said, he wanted somebody just to grab him. And that's why, as a Muslim, we're not in the dunya just to myself, my world, my house, my car. Khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas. We were the best ummah because we thought about others before ourselves. We call people towards good and we stop them from evil. That's our duty and responsibility. But we forgot about these things. And today is my house, I don't care what Naz is up to, I don't care what Dave is up to. But what we don't realize, if the fire is in their house, one day that fire is going to reach my house. You can't sit content. You need to do fikr for your community. You need to have concern. And that's everybody's duty, especially as a Muslim. It's every single one of our duty. That's why today's message is that, we need to wake up. We're not going to stop the drugs. Unfortunately, it's going to carry on. Shaitani will always carry on. It's never going to be wiped away. What we got to do is stand up and say no to it. And I'm sure we can all do that. It takes himmat. It takes courage and strength. But Allah's given you that courage and strength. What have you not got? What has Allah not given you? He's given you clothes, He's given you shelter, He's given you houses, He's given you cars, He's given you everything. I think to myself when I stay at home sometimes, Alhamdulillah, we eat 2, 3, 4 times a day. We got a nice, warm, house, we got a car, we got everything. What can I complain to Allah about? And then You should think about the people that are less fortunate than ourselves, that at night they don't even know where they're going to sleep, where the next meal going to come from. And that's reality. We have people here on the streets that are in that kind of situation. What has Allah not given us? That's why, Alhamdulillah, Allah made us Musliman. Allah has given a duty and responsibility not just to care for ourselves, but to care for our fellow people. And we shouldn't, not just to the Muslim community, even our non-Muslim friends, we should reach out to them. Because as a Muslim, we care about the whole of humanity. Because everybody is a creation of Allah. And that's our duty and responsibility. That's why I hope today's program has been successful. We may dua, Allah Ta'ala accepts it and forgive us for any shortcomings. MashaAllah, the sisters downstairs, I know they were sitting patiently and watching it as well. May Allah Ta'ala accept their efforts. May Allah Ta'ala accept the efforts of Dave, Abdul Ahad, Naz, the couples that are here, and you guys especially as well, that have come. You've taken out your time. Inshallah, in 3 weeks' time, on the 10th of December, Saturday, a group of us went to Palestine, Jerusalem, to Masjid al-Aqsa. So inshallah, for the brothers, we've got an event regarding our tour of Al-Aqsa. 31 of us brothers from Masjid Umar. So inshallah, they're all going to give you Kalguzari, give you a feedback of their journey. So inshallah, I hope you all come back on Saturday, 10th of December, inshallah, and participate in that event as well. Inshallah, the food will be also after that. Inshallah, there's food today as well. Before we wrap up, the brothers asking, everybody's going to just say a few words and then we'll do dua and we'll finish, inshallah. Dave, any last words?
Yes, so look, I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful to the community for asking us to come here. I think it's very brave, very forward-looking what we're doing now. All the speakers have been really interesting for me as well. It's been quite eye-opening for me to hear these stories as well. But thank you very much for joining us tonight. Thank you very much.
Once again, from Consequence, like I said, my message to you all to take away is what we've been saying here, and choices basically. Life's full of choices, and the choice is this. The consequences are kind of the worst. Life's full of choices. Every choice when it comes to drugs and stuff like this, it's a negative one. Choose a better path, create a better path for yourself, by yourself. Yeah? Help one another, support one another. And once again, when it's an issue that we try to suppress, rather than bring it to the community and open doing an event like this, it's only then that the message can go out. So once again, you've got people and organisations here who are willing to support and guide. If you've got any issues within your families or in your neighbourhoods, the imams here, you can bring this issue to the imam. And the aim is from here, we've got organisations within Bradford, or Leicester, to Johannesburg that are willing to support and give you the guidance. Let me just give you some from Bradford. We've got the Bridge Project, we've got updates working around cannabis and legal highs. So there's already two organisations established for years who are doing this at the end of the day. So, like I said, we're here as a collective group, and the aim is I hope that our message is gone out to you and something somewhere has stuck in. And thank you very much for your time.
Sorry, once again, just a quick article on YouTube, just a couple of minutes. Yes, I lost my father in 2021, lost my mother, sorry, my father in 2020, I lost my mother in 2021. And loved ones that we have lost. This is an article, glamorize destructive behaviors of drugs, gambling, and criminal activities. Updated not long ago. Most of us won't become Grammy Award-winning artists or make millions of dollars in a matter of days when the stories of celebrities are larger than life. Characters make the news of the wrong reasons. We can't help but be captivated. And the news and entertainment media, the corporations that run them, take very close notes to glamorize the destructive behavior of drugs, gambling, and criminal activities. Tell us a lot about the world we live in. And the monsters we created by such adulations has also made a market of illegal drugs, and the people
respect them. The story of Amy Winehouse. In 2008, the executive director of the United Nations of the Nation Office of Drugs and Criminal Law regarding the drug habits of English singer and songwriter Amy Winehouse. Among those other celebrities, we were a bad example to fans and members of the general public who were vulnerable to addiction and contributed to drug smuggling across the African continent. One, the fact that the executive director of the Department of the United Nations mentioned Amy Winehouse illustrated the degree to which the drug use, gambling, and criminal activities have been glamorized. In 2006, Amy Winehouse released her signature song, Rehab, the chorus of which features the lyrics, "They tried to make me go to rehab. I said, no, no, no." The song won 3 Grammy Awards, including Record of the Year and the Song of the Year. The Time magazine called it the best song of the year, saying that Winehouse was funny and quite possibly crazy, even admitting that her real life problems with alcohol came second place to her originality. 5 years later, at the age of 27, Winehouse died from alcohol poisoning after a protracted and public battle with substance abuse. My dear respected brothers and elders, this is important what we just heard. Take it seriously, say no to drugs, stay away from drugs. Anyone comes to you, offers you, move away, walk away, get help, report it. The police are there, the community is there, our brothers here, Molana's here. Again, brothers, especially to the youngsters out there, please, 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 stay away. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Thank you for all our guests. Just one last thing. Just like to thank Moran Sabi here for setting up this program. Without his hard work, none of this would have been able to take place. And inshallah, if there are people who have issues, we do have Moran Saab as an asset to us in our community, and he has the links where he can refer you and he can help you, inshallah. Might not be yourself, it might be other people. So he does a lot of work behind the scenes. And if you need to utilize him, he is always there. We will finish with dua and then inshallah we will talk about it. Oh, and one last thing is, like I said, on the 10th of December, we are going to do a program on Alexa. A lot of people have been asking us questions, so I was not the party that went. Inshallah, we will answer all your questions about going to Alexa or anything to do with the security fears over there. It's just a general journey of what we experience, and inshallah, maybe yourselves will benefit from going up at some point as well. We'll finish with Mark then.
اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي وعلى اله وسلم تسليما. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنه وفي الاخره حسنه وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. Ya Allah, forgive us all our major minor sins. Ya Allah, accept us for the khidmat of deen. Ya Allah, cleanse our heart. Ya Allah, wash away our sins. Ya Allah, we have no actions of good to show. Ya Allah, please forgive us. Ya Allah, put us on the straight path. Ya Allah, save us from shaitan. Ya Allah, save us from all these evil acts. Ya Allah, keep us steadfast upon Iman and upon Islam. Ya Allah, when you give death with the kalima La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Ya Allah, safeguard our youngsters, safeguard our children, safeguard the women, the children. Ya Allah, safeguard the elders, safeguard all our country, safeguard the whole world from all kind of evil acts. Ya Allah, guide us all. Ya Allah, keep us steadfast upon Islam. Ya Allah, make us good Muslims, make us good Muslims that help others, that have concern for others, that do good actions. Ya Allah, give the tawfiq to pray namaz, give the tawfiq to do the best jokes, the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give the tawfiq to remember you constantly. Ya Allah, give us that kind of satisfaction in our heart so that we don't need to go towards evil. Ya Allah, keep us steadfast upon Iman and upon Islam. Ya Allah, on the day of Qiyamah, Ya Allah, when we stood in front of you, Ya Allah, declare your happiness with us. Say, Sajid, I'm happy with you. Say, I'm happy with every single one of you. Ya Allah, you declare your happiness, and that's it. That's everything for us. Ya Allah, we seek your pleasure. Allahumma inni as'aluka ridaka wal jannah. Ya Allah, we seek your pleasure and we seek paradise. Ya Allah, and save us from the traps of shaitan and from Jahannam. Ya Allah, accept this event. Ya Allah, forgive us for any shortcomings. Ya Allah, accept everybody who have ever participated in any kind of way. Ya Allah, give us the tawfiq to do good and to carry on doing good in our locality. Ameen. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Inshallah, there's food there, so please take food with you.
The leaflets are at the back as well. There's some stalls set up.
Whoever wants to talk to the brothers, you can talk to the brothers. The leaflets at the back, please take the leaflets, inshallah.
Very, very good event. Yeah.
Okay, man. Very powerful. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, well, are you going to come to about that? Enjoy it. Yeah, good. Very powerful.
You became the one that organized it? Oh, you got stairs in the market. Okay.
The doctor, is and he works for
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You also work with I work in
Yeah.
we get some nitrous oxide.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just so we have some people like this. I mean, the small I've seen them with I've seen one little canister. Yeah, I've seen them. They've been up a long time. Those canisters, yeah, you know, when they touch you, I'll put them on the seal. No, I've seen them. Yeah, I've seen nice meeting you. Yeah, you take care. On the way out. Today the house fires are mine and his. So inshallah, it's all about working together. That's it. Bringing organizations that know where they are. I'm going to talk about these days on the street. Thank you. Everything you're able to do. I was going to say, I don't know, just able to get it along. How's it all right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's on the YouTube channel. It was on YouTube anyway, it went live and we all listened. Ooh, the view to the mosque, must have been your hill there. Yeah, it was, you know, it was needed. Powerful stuff. Yeah, they one I have to get, because one I have to keep just for demonstration. Because at the end of the day, for what I just got told there was, oh, David, I'll send you call them. Yeah, rescue them. Yeah, no, the little man.
Okay. You know the drugs.
Send me that. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I think so. That's what it is.
All right, nice one. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
It is.
You know what I mean? I've never been able to But it's all right because we had the right connections to get it. And that's what I said here. Bridges here, bridges. I don't know. Kind of a nice fashion truck, you know what I mean? You can do it. So, it's a good idea. Yeah, it's simple, but it's just bringing it into the time for them to understand. There's no we're the first ones to say, okay, we want to. Now you see everything. Now you see the road and down that road, and there's people out there. They're all going to jump on it, which is okay. But I really, at the end of the day, you know, after the day. But for us, we're really good agency, which is linked. Bring organizations in and say, right, if we don't have the capability, then you come in and